Futures back downside here this morning as we get going into a brand new week. About 0.5% so far for the NASDAQ, 0.3 and change for the S&P 500. Speaking of which, a couple of movers as far as index related moves this morning. SEDG out of the S&P 500. Uber goes in as expected. We learned that after the close on Friday. So nice gap to the upside this morning for UBER. We'll touch on that as well. Bitcoin, yeah, holding nicely above 40,000 right now and then some. So all the crypto related stocks benefiting this morning. Coinbase, even the miners of the world, RIOT, Mara as well. Yeah, look at coin up 10% here in the pre-market so far. A lot of attention going to be put on those so far, but the market's downside, as I mentioned. So a little bit of a story of tale of two stories, maybe. Back to the downside. Chip makers on watch this morning. We'll touch on Tesla as well. Some Chinese sales data coming out this morning as well to get going. It's Monday, December 4th, 2023. Tradertv.live starts now. Yeah, quite the daily chart. Sharif and I were just discussing this nice ramp here on Coinbase, now at 150. You're tagging it at least this morning on a bit of a pullback right now. We'll see how the day shapes up. But yeah, Bitcoin in focus this morning in a big way, back above 40,000. It's been a long time since we've said that about BTC, but all of these pretty impressive here so far.
Yeah, May 2022 was the last time we were at these levels. 3 tailwinds to talk about here for all cryptocurrencies. We're talking about the ETF, the spot ETF that's supposed to be approved anytime now. Multiple applications from big money for that. You also have the halving event coming in May 2024 and usually runs up into that date. And you also have the interest rates because, Jerome Powell was on the mic a couple of times last weekend. So the market digested that we are probably done hiking at the moment. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they tried. I think he did his best job to keep a lid on things, but we'll see. I was noting this morning both the 10-year and the 30-year back to the upside a little bit here this morning, dollar as well. So we'll see how things play out. But for the most part, the market pricing in May is when we'll see the first rate cut coming through from the Fed. Obviously, until then, everything pointing towards nothing is going to change. Yeah, note on NVIDIA, we'll talk about chip makers coming up here. NVIDIA going to focus on Japan for AI-related chips specifically. Here's the NASDAQ, just kind of hanging out within the range so far, still nicely above this gap and holding above the gap that we formed. Going back to the last CPI. So we'll talk about inflation coming up here this week. Get non-farm payrolls coming up on Friday this week. That's going to be the big stop as far. It's weird. It was Friday last week was the first of the month, which is typically when we get the jobs data, but this is one of those months when they're going to do it on the second week. Neil is off enjoying a couple of days rest out in Halifax. I think he was actually supposed to meet up with Michael Noss. We'll talk to Mr. Noss when he comes on about that. Obi is in for Neil, though. Guys, good morning.
Good morning.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Yeah, are you in? Me and Brendan going back and forth. Are you in for Neil tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't see it in the calendar there. So, man, Neil already messing that calendar up, man. We just made that calendar. Welcome, Obi. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
We got bears here. I didn't even look at those yet. Yeah, what a fun day here, man. I mean, you're long crypto, right? You own a lot of crypto?
Well, I wouldn't say a lot.
No. Yeah.
I wish.
I don't own enough. You never own enough
Exactly.
when you get a move like this. But wow, up to 41, 42,000 now for crypto. Coinbase up to 147, knocking on the door of 150. Wow. It's going to be absolutely insane. But what a great day it was yesterday night for the Green Bay Packers, of course, beating reigning champion Kansas City Chiefs. I know you probably were really watching that game as well, so or not, but that was a great game for the Packers, so go Pack go on that one. Mara right now just trading through the roof. We talked to Michael Noss about that name a while ago as well, and that's just absolutely beasting. I don't know, the halving that's going to happen in May, that seems like a far ways away, but we've been having a lot of traders on the show, especially on the recap show, Adrian Zadunchuk and a few other names. They're talking all about crypto, and I mean, it continues to make higher moves now, and it's an absolute beast. The NASDAQ, we'll see if we can hold out some of those wins from last week and heading into the new month here of December. We started it off Friday with a great day. We'll see if we can hold today. Down 0.5% right now. AMD, I like some of those tops up there near 122. NVIDIA, we had a note on those guys as well. But I mean, all is well here in Cryptoverse as we just continue to watch it continue this march higher here. This is just a daily chart, but I mean, back when I was dressed up like an idiot, which is pretty much every day, but just when we were talking about Halloween, we were down here at 35,000. That was at the beginning of the month, right? Now you're up here in about 30 trading days, obviously straight to the upside and now blasting, took down 40,000. And we've been trading around these $5,000 areas, like, you know, bouncing off 25, then hovering around 30. But look at this. We didn't spend that much time at 35 at all, Obi. We took off as soon as we got to 35. We bounced around there maybe a week, took off to 40. Now next stop is probably 45 as you look like you're, I mean, it's up 150% this year is BTC. And the next stop, I mean, why is 50 something that we're afraid of? I think you can get to 50, and I think you can get there pretty quick. I did want to look also at GBTC here today as a possible runner, heading back up to the upside. GBTC right there, trying to make a move up to $34 again. You're going to see this stock just continue its climb as well as we talk about ETFs, this name turning into an ETF and a few other instruments hopefully coming on board soon. I don't know if it's going to be great for the cryptoverse, but you know, whatever, more things for us to trade. So
Yeah, definitely. The pressure definitely going to be coming in. We were talking about this, a little bit of a strong continuation happening here. If I can get this window, yeah. So there's a little bit of a strong continuation happening off of this breakout. I think I keep talking about this, that this hold over 15,000, Sean, I was just like, yeah, if it comes down to like 10 to 15, I'll buy a little bit more. Yeah, never even sees those levels, and then gives us a nice little reclaim consolidation before coming right back up into some of these levels from before. So yeah, 45, 50. I think the pressure's going to stay there until it really doesn't, and until then, we can definitely capitalize on a lot of these crypto names that are moving around: Mara, Riot, MSTR, and yeah, GBTC. Maybe some of the smaller ones as well. Maybe NFTs will start the NFT tickers. Remember WiseKey and BTBT?
You know, was a good one for a while.
Like
there was Playboy was a good one for a while because of the NFTs.
Like Sympathy, right?
That's funny. Yeah, WiseKey. Yeah, there were so many different names. There was some sort of like a dolphin one too, DLPHN or something.
DLPN. I remember that one. That one was good.
Okay, well, here you heard it first, man. Obi looking at some of those NFT names right now. Wow, maybe
catch a little bit of a sympathy.
You know, let's find some depressed names like that you might.
They have short floats. Some of them have some decent short floats because like NFTs, they came and they went, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, these are probably going to zero.
Those names again,
right? So,
hey. The thing is, everything's run so far over the last 2 to 3 weeks that it's like everything that was garbage has now become, you know,
sparkling garbage.
Yeah, exactly. The belle of the ball, or sparkling garbage, as you say. So, and what's that shiny thing over there, by the way? Okay. Carvana moving around too. I mean, but there's also good ones. Caterpillar, I know Sharif's been in that one. That's slowly going up. Deere had not a great print, starting to go back to the upside. Have you seen General Electric? I mean, this is like the only industrial that I own, which is why I'm saying, like, have you seen it? Because I was looking at my portfolio a little bit last week, and it's just, this is another name, GE, if this, when will this ever load, is breaking out through all these highs as well. So here's another name that took out 120 up to 122, 123. So General Electric continues to work. I mean, there's a lot of names right now. You know, let me just check out one more for everybody. Eli Lilly. I wanted to buy any dips in this name down into 580. Actually, this might qualify as that as well. You're going to get a few days in a row where this GLP-1 wonder continues to make little moves down. And then you see last week, actually, McDonald's, the other side of this, some of these names, based on these weight loss drugs and based on these appetite suppression and whatnot, McDonald's really got smoked, you know, down to the downside. Look at names like Pepsi and things like that. And then look, they're loving it all the way back up to 285 again. Complete V-shaped recovery here for names like McDonald's. Remember when Pepsi reported as well? Everyone was like, oh my God, these guys are finished. And some of this is battled back as well. Not as huge once this chart loads, but here's the quite nice move down, and you don't get too often faces that look like this. And you say, get that garbage out of here. Now you're all the way back up into 170 again. So, all right, lots to talk about, lots of different stocks. I mean, I hope everyone's portfolio is doing well. IWM, again, going to be ripping today. And then I'm sure we'll talk a little bit of Amazon at some point, Obi.
Just maybe.
We'll talk about space, I'm sure, coming up here as well. Virgin Galactic down big time, 15%. Richard Branson finally, it would appear anyways, throwing in the towel on this. I remember I was not sitting in this seat, but sitting in another seat on the show the day this thing came to market. And he was standing on the floor of the NYSE and said he was going to fund this thing until it was profitable. So, I mean, obviously times change, economic conditions change, but you don't want to see this ever, but not good for space here today.
And I love space stuff. Like, I do love the pursuit of space. So seeing this, despite the company having its issues, it's not pleasing to me. But in a Financial Times interview, Brendo, he said, you know, the deep pockets that he had during the pandemic and before the pandemic are no longer the case, and sufficient. He believes the company has sufficient funds to do its job. So he's already funded them, and he's not looking at funding them anymore.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that, see how it plays out over not only today, but the next couple of days here. Again, if you missed it, Uber into the S&P 500, SEDG out. Just to go back real quick to Friday, if you remember, we got a double dose of Fed Chair Powell at a college in Atlanta. He was spent the day there. I guess they did a roundtable. They did a Q&A with him as well. That was kind of the main theme. It's premature to declare victory type of theme that came out of that speak on Friday. But as we said, rates back to the upside a little bit here today, the dollar back to the upside a little bit here today. We will keep an eye on all of that this morning. Mr. Noss is with us, Michael Noss, CMT over at Trade Ideas. It's bright and sunny in Halifax today, Michael Noss. I like the background.
Well, yeah, except for all that. So
it's a little
I hope
snowy
Neil
too,
makes
apparently.
it back safe.
Wow. When did that happen? Over the weekend?
Just overnight, and it's still going. And it's supposed to be going all day. So I guess we could do weather reports over at Nova Scotia.
Welcome to winter, apparently, in Halifax. Neil, enjoy that while you're there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a pretty interesting couple of weeks here for the market overall. We get the highest close in a long time for not only a few indexes but a few specific names as well. We'll talk about some of the meme stocks here this morning that were flying around last week. But give me your thoughts here as far as the market is concerned. A lot of people, I mean, it seemed like as I was reading through a few things this morning, a lot of people saying that extended theme I was seeing a lot today.
Yeah, and I think the extended theme is a good thing, right? It means that there's going to be a lot of FOMO. There's going to be a lot of catch up. I think what we need to make sure is that people don't think that extended means that the market needs to go down. I know we've talked about this a few times, Brendan, but extended could just mean that we chill out, or we could say extended for an incredibly long period of time. This is why on Friday when I came in, I did those monthly charts to show, yes, we are up a lot if you're looking at the daily chart or if you're caught in the weeds, but the SPY is up 1 month in a row, right? The only number less than that is 0. So, you can see right here that, yes, it was a strong day yesterday. Yes, we've been a little bit, extended, you could say, off the lows, but we're still butting up against those prior highs. And today we're actually gapping down a little bit. So it doesn't surprise me that you're going to see this extended thing. I think a lot of it's going to come from perma-bears. I think a lot of it's going to come from people who are maybe not that involved. What I think is going to happen into the next year that may cause another Santa Claus rally is you need to think that if you are a hedge fund manager or a large institution or something like that, and you are dramatically underperforming this market and you're not holding those names like NVIDIA and Apple and Meta and everything that was doing fantastic, I think the investors are actually going to kind of put you to the ringer. So if you are one of these managers, you're kind of thinking about your job. And I think that's going to cause a little bit of a pile-in effect into these names. And I think that's what we're seeing with these high short float names. So the next chart I actually have is a firm, which The business of a firm hasn't changed too much, but look at that massive breakout. I think that this is purely a short covering type of play, but doesn't mean it can't exist. It can't happen for a long period of time. A firm is incredibly beaten up still. I think it was like a $200 or $300 stock a while ago. And then we even have GameStop, right? GameStop hasn't had earnings. There was the only thing I could find with GameStop is that there was someone who placed a big bet in the options market, and that person has gotten out of that bet. But it just makes me think that there's no real reason that these things are rallying. But what it could be is that people are, if you're a hedge fund manager and you've been short the entire time, it's probably time to ring the register on some of those shorts. So what I did is I built a scan here, and you can hit me up on Twitter. You can go to trade-ideas.com and you can get access to the scan that I just called short squeeze candidates, something that we do great at Trade Ideas, where we can show you all of the names that look that have high short floats. And then what I did is I sorted those by how high up they were in their 20-day range, because I don't want the short names that are just completely falling apart. That's not interesting to me, because those shorts are not worried. If you're a short in a firm or even in GME right now, you may be a little bit worried. But if you're a short in AMC that hit an all-time low last week, you're not really that worried. So I went through this list, and as always, I pulled out a couple names for you guys that I think are interesting. And I used the combined charts that we have on the web. These will hit the download soon, that also have the fundamental data on them. So if we start with TWST, I highlighted the fundamental data at the top of the chart, along with putting the bull flag that I can see just on the next chart here for TWST right there. Perfect. So this one has a 27% short float. But again, we want to take this short information. We want to combine it with technical analysis and say, yes, this has a high short float, and it looks like it's made this strong move and it could break out higher, because that's going to be the catalyst. The price move, I believe, is always the catalyst for the shorts to get nervous. So with nearly a third of the float short on this TWST, it's very interesting to me now. This is a bioscience type play, so be very careful about that. Next one that's very interesting here is CRSP, and same kind of play, right? This is what I'm looking for in these. 22% short float on CRISPR Therapeutics, but a nice move up. This thing has gone all the way from $40 to $70, and now it's just kind of consolidating sideways. So if it can break through that level and continue higher, that is, those shorts are going to get nervous. Now, last but not least, this one's beat up a little bit more, but this is Blink Charging, BLNK. This had a run recently as well. I want these things that have run to make those shorts nervous. This is a 29% short float, so nearly a third of the float that's short. Had this big spike up, must have been some news that happened maybe 2 weeks ago. And then you can just see this slow, kind of calm consolidation and downtrend back to that level. So if that turns around and we get some buying there, I really like the look of Blink Charging in the whole EV space, again, with a 30% short float. If these things start to get going, I think they're going to get going pretty quickly. Maybe we have another Affirm type move on them.
Typically, this time of year, we get a little bit of a downtick with volatility. We get a little bit of a downtick with volume across the board. Not to put you on the spot, but have you ever looked into or done any work as far as seasonality goes with this type of an idea?
Yes, well, the seasonality is pretty clear when it comes to what we're looking at near the end of the year, right? So there's two things that we look at the end of the year when it comes to seasonality. One is the January effect, and that starts actually around now and goes until the end of the year. That people think just has a lot to do with people feeling good and all that, but there's a lot of window dressing and tax loss harvesting that goes on. So generally what we see going into the end of the year is the stuff that did really well all year continues to do really well all year, and the stuff that did horribly last year actually does worse. And it's just for people who don't understand the tax part of this. Basically, if I'm a hedge fund and I own AMC and I own NVIDIA, and it's time, the end of the year is coming and I have to kind of settle up for tax, what I need to do at some point is I need to say, well, I'm going to sell some of these to raise some money. I might as well sell the one that I'm down in, because then I don't have to pay Uncle Sam. If I sell the one that I'm up in, then I have a big tax bill. So that's what tax loss harvesting means, is selling things that you're underwater on. So that happens around now and goes to the end of the year. I'm not too sure of the tax laws. I think it has to be end of November, early December that this happens. And then the actual Santa Claus rally, that starts 5 days before 5 trading days before the end of the year. And I think goes 3 days into the beginning of the next year. So that's really what I'm watching, because it's interesting. And we talked about this before, Brendan. It's interesting when the Santa Claus rally occurs. That's just kind of interesting information. If it doesn't occur, then the stats get really, really interesting. And if we see that, I'll definitely bring that to you guys.
Yeah, great time of year to at least watch and observe what is happening in the overall market. Michael Noss, enjoy shoveling. Say hi to Neil for us if you're able to hook up with him.
Yeah, if we meet up, I'll certainly let you know.
Great stuff. We'll talk again on Friday.
Talk to you then.
Mr. Michael Noss will also be joining me, hopefully, Michael, if you're still there, at the market recap show tonight. I'm going to talk to him about some of these ideas, and we'll see if anything followed through as far as today is concerned. I love that idea of the short scanner. I mean, I think that, you know, we've seen Carvana go up to $65 and come right back into the 25 area, and then now starting to bounce again. You're going to see a firm do something very, very similar, Obi. And I just think that the more information you have, the more scanners that you have, and the more ideas. And I think Brendan nailed the question when he asked him about seasonality as well. You know, it's like you're coming into that time where, thank you for the explanation of tax loss harvesting and things like that, because you're going to be getting into window dressing. I mean, there's so many, I'm just going to say bang on that one because, I don't even have my stream deck open, because we have so many different terms that are going to hit coming in December. You're going to also have Santa Claus rally coming through, which we had JC. Yeah, which we had some, I wouldn't mind a little bit of that either, where we get, no, it actually starts on December 22nd this year. So we had JC Peretz on talk about that when he was on the show a couple weeks ago. So I think that was something that was kind of cool. So, hey, look, I think today, as long as the NASDAQ, which it is trying to do right here, I'll put up the NASDAQ a little bit here, stays underneath the 16,000, it's not far underneath it, man. It's just right into here, basically where the 50, actually it's a 200 period moving average is at about 16,020, and they're starting to fade out. I just think if we stay under here, then we do break this 15.8, and then after that, then you got to go with 15.0, and that's not even that big of a deal. You're about 150 points away from that right now, and then, possibly back down in. As I just wonder where the catalysts are coming from. We heard this news already today from Uber. That's already out there. What is the next catalyst? And that's where you come up with some of these words. I would love a coffee. Randy, thank you so much for that. Obi, you good? Or
yeah, I got it.
You've got one already? Okay.
A little bit early.
So I think looking at a firm, looking at Upstart, looking at some of these names, and then what other name that he came out with that I really thought was a cool one too was GameStop. I think GameStop with their report,
a little bit of a short float.
Yeah, it's not even about the short. It is about the short float, sorry, but they report. There's not too many stocks that are left to report, and GameStop's coming out December 6th. So you have in 2 days. GameStop comes out, and that could spark the rally. We saw GameStop here, 22% short float. I like that, Michael. I mean, it's interesting when you get CMTs bringing up some of these names, but look at GameStop right here. I think as a chart, this looks pretty darn good, man. You're getting this out of there, like I keep saying all the time, and you're above the 50-period moving average. I really like GameStop here, and this is not a a hot take for any other reason other than the chart is above the 50-period moving average. They still have yet to report, and you have a high float. Yeah. That has equaled success for many names.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think we've seen the pressure that heavily shorted names can have in the past couple of years, right? And some of these names still have these residual heavy short floats that have been just sitting there, and then I think we've talked about this before. Like some of these tickers just sell off, and they sell off. All the bad news is in them. Nothing really will make them sell off anymore. And then any sign of a little bit of a good news, boom, pressure is very, very directional. It's one-sided, it's offside. So yeah, I think we should be definitely watching out for some of those. And something else to note, Sean, there is GME is bouncing off of a key level right here. If you've noticed, right there, this was the pop that took us to 500, right? Split adjusted, of course, right? But look down here. this $10 level that we had this bounce off of, this secondary bounce. So that initial reaction high came in and couldn't break down below $10. And coming in, we still have well, it's not as significant as before, but that short float is still there, and we're getting back into those areas right here, just about a dollar or two away from that initial kind of sustain of that level after we got that 500 test. So we're right back in that area, and I think long-term shorts could be finding a good place to cover in and around that area as well. Definitely that volume kind of coming in at these levels. Thank you.
Like Randy had that pre-made there.
That was pretty quick.
Like, how quick was that?
Yeah.
You trusted Obi?
It's Randy, I trust.
It's Randy, I trust him as well. Yeah, good look there on GameStop. I mean, key levels coming into place, coming through again. And yeah, those of you that are guessing on the chat if Neil got fired, yeah, eventually we had to make the move. So, Obi, congratulations, man. As you can see, I'm in a little bit of a somber. I mean, Neil's been a friend for a very, very long time. So, yeah, no, Michael Noss hired him over there at Trade Ideas, and so Neil will be,
Wow.
you know, that's what Neil's out there shoveling right now, and it's going to be a nice. No, Neil will be. I'm surprised they hadn't met yet. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they can meet up today. The one thing about Canada is we always get people are like, oh my God, it's so cold. Like it's not. There's certain parts. It's the same thing as saying like, oh my God, the United States is so warm. Well, say that to those people in, you know, Detroit or Minneapolis or something like that. But then people in LA, anyway, it's called geography. I guess I don't need to explain that. But right here, we haven't had a drop of snow really yet at all here in Toronto. So
Apparently it's going to be like wet and cold for most of it. But
will it be a white Christmas in the lovely city of Toronto? Only Neil knows. So,
wow.
Again, and to get that guy to make a prediction, good luck with that.
That's a good
All right. Yo, what's up, Adara? Are we ready for Adara?
Yeah, I mean, we can. Yeah, Dara's got upgrades and downgrades over at, wait for it. There we go. The big screen.
Yeah, lots of really interesting lists today, including GM. We have an upgrade from Mizuho, but also they had an increased price target from Citigroup and initiated with a buy from HSBC. So this is one to watch with 3 strong analyst moves. We also have Carvana getting an upgrade from JP Morgan Chase, Hawaiian Airlines getting an upgrade from Deutsche Bank and trading higher amid the acquisition. And we also have Coca-Cola getting an upgrade from Goldman Sachs. Now, on the flip side of Hawaiian Airlines, we actually have Alaska Airlines kicking off the downgrades today after the Hawaiian Airlines acquisition news. This is from Deutsche Bank. We also have Bayer getting a downgrade from UBS, Citizens Financial Group with a downgrade from Morgan Stanley, and last but not least, Ford, another legacy car maker, getting a downgrade from HSBC Securities, guys.
Yeah, so Hawaiian right there is a buyout getting bought. Alaska Air, you know, we'll talk about that a little bit as we go. So that's obviously interesting. I won't be trading that as when you have movement like that. It's not for me. The one name on there, of course, we talked a little bit about it. Thank you, Adara, for that, was Carvana. I mean, Carvana, again, another name that continues to rip up to the upside here. Continues, I mean, it's up 5%. It's had a nice little bump up again. And this name kind of, it looks very, very similar to that of GameStop again here, where you're trying to get above some of the, you know, the most recent kind of dip buy opportunities into $30. Now you're above this $36, $37 mark. I think this one, again, has a good chance to go. This was the largest short float on the street. Okay, it's still 36. It was up in the 40s at one point. But the shorts have won. They brought it all the way back in. And this is one of those names that we talked about earlier where you get going and then, you know, you hit some sort of a support or resistance. And in this situation, would have been resistance up here near 57, 58. Do we get back up there? We'll see. This name is obviously, it's reported, it's through already. But bouncing off the 200 period moving average, no matter what kind of stock you're looking at, some of these names continue to just trade off technicals. That's why we love some technical trades. So that's a good little level there, 30, 31 bucks. Now bumping up into 36, 37. Let's see if it can hold some of these levels. I like Carvana here. I think it can hold today. You know, no report coming anytime soon. Where does it show? Yeah, their earnings date's not on here. The Carvana is not an earnings name, I don't believe, unless that catches me off surprise over the next little while. But look for a base to form at some point. On Friday, we really based out down here at 31 before taking off. Look at 35 holding like a champ on Friday. So a move back into 35 bucks for CVNA. That's the name on the list that I think I'll be looking at.
Yeah, some solid names there. Again, I don't know if I think GE was on there as well, or was it General Electric? But yeah, definitely Hawaiian Airlines, one to watch. We were talking about this one a little bit earlier here, kind of gapping up off of that buyout news over some previous levels here, and yeah, so taking a look at the longer time frame, kind of a sell-off overall, very, very strong selling, and we've pretty much came up to about 20 to 30% of this range here, but yeah, clearly this thing has been selling off quite significantly. So maybe some good news off of this buyout. Let's see if it can hold above this 250 to 1350 level.
Yeah. All right, let's get a check of the overall market as we get going here at 9 o'clock. Shreve's got that.
46.01, guys. That's where we close out on Friday, breaching that 4,600 resistance level. We're far below that right now. We're at the 45.70s. Look, I'm going to look for 4,600 as a level of resistance like we've been looking at for the past few weeks. But support, if we get down there, that 45.50 has been a great level of support going back to the third week or even the second week of November, Brendo. So we're locked in within a range.
I saw somebody mentioning Beyond. It was actually, it's BYON. It's not actually Beyond Meat. So there were some job cuts. BYON was job cuts, not BYND. Yeah, let's get into everything else you need to know here as we get heading towards the open on a Monday. If you haven't done so, watchlist.tradertv.live or scan that QR code, enter your email address, and then you get that for free from us every single day. Jensen Huang out talking this morning about Japan and how they're going to prioritize and send a whole bunch of AI-specific chips to Japan, which is kind of out of nowhere. Haven't heard about that market for a while, but obviously a huge one along with China. The focus obviously has been on China because of the U.S. restrictions, but nice look for NVIDIA here focusing on Japan.
Yeah, no restrictions for Japan from the U.S. Look, Japan's earmarked 2 trillion yen, which is approximately about $13.6 billion to build out its AI infrastructure. It's really put things on pause since the beginning of COVID. So they're really looking here to build up and catch up. Taiwan Semiconductor is looking at also building a plant in Japan to kind of, diversify and get away from Taiwan and from mainland China. So we're going to see how much of those dollars, that 13.6 billion, is going to find its way to Taiwan Semi. But good look here for NVIDIA.
Yeah, market day lows, NVIDIA day lows, might be one of those kind of days, guys.
Oh, yeah. Look, that's why we're talking bearish today. I've already posted it. Look, I don't want to, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I posted this sticky note minutes ago, and this about 15 minutes ago, and we talked about it right here, feeling bearish today. Since we posted that, you're down about 30 or 40 handles and really starting to push down. So for me to sit here and say that we're bearish is accurate. I mean, we've been bearish, like I said, since I sat down. I'm bearish since 16K. When we, when we flipped the stream on, we were up here near 15,000. Now you're down quite large off of VWAP again, right there hitting. And I've always said this, and again, join me every night, join me every single day as we continue to stick our neck out for some of these trades. I've been talking about SMH and how I feel like this was an absolute monster move back up. That bounce off the 50 period moving, the 200 period moving average down here. It's not going to load up, or hopefully it will, but down here at 140, it's been an epic move back up on what were good NVIDIA numbers, right? But again, some kind of rebalancing may be happening here into the end of the year. I could just see the SMH pulling back a little bit, trying to bounce right now, so we got to hold some of these levels, or else I do feel like we do pull back into 150, and that's not going to be good for anything here. Like the transports used to be old school leader, I feel like NVIDIA and the chip names are going to lead the rest of this market, because if we're healthy on this front, then you can sort of extrapolate the fact that, hey, if NVIDIA is healthy, then so is the AI,
right,
space, and then thus far, so is NASDAQ, and the S&P 500, because of the, simply put, the high weightings of a Microsoft that's in there, the high weightings of an Apple. Meta, we know, can sort of lift all ships as well with some of their AI talk and whatnot. Stocks like Palantir, of course, much lesser on that side. But look at NVIDIA now. It's going to have a hard time possibly holding this 450. I mean, the 50-period moving average, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row to the downside. NVIDIA reported on November 21st. If you open this chart up, here is November 21st, right here, the high, again, November 21st. Here's the high the last time they reported a record quarter. Here's the drop back into 400, then the bounce back up. Well, why did we bounce back up? In anticipation of this day, right there. It happened, it gave us not a doji star, but close enough to it. Now you're pushing back down. I don't think there's support in NVIDIA until we get back into 400, 420. So I say that's where NVIDIA is going. And I don't know the reason for someone to come in and buy this thing. Let it fall back down, then buy the dips. Most traders that I talk to are in that camp right now. They're not willing to put more money to work at some of these levels because we've had such a huge move up. So if NVIDIA is going to fall back down, then I say let's pick on a weaker name, and that's going to be AMD. It doesn't look like from a chart standpoint it's any weaker, but NVIDIA is the one that's supposed to have all the stories. They're supposed to have the hype chips. They're the ones that have the huge order book. Does AMD? We believe so. They're coming out with new chips and new processors every single day. But I just look at this, 120, 150 up to 122. I say prove it, AMD. Get above that level, and then I'll start to think about going long again. But until then, no. 122. I just think that this is going to be a level to watch out for. You've got the 200-period moving average on a 20-minute chart. I'm fading AMD today and watching out for a break of 450 on NVIDIA. For me, it's downside today in the chip name.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Took the I guess analysis out of my mouth there. Yeah, NVIDIA definitely looking like that. I'm watching Intel as well. Intel looking a little bit relatively strong than the rest of the chip names. But the thing is, if NVIDIA and the rest of the chip names are going to be weak, and SMH is going to be weak, Intel is definitely going to follow along. This is the weekly chart here. Kind of a slowdown of that momentum on the look at these waves right here. We kind of pop back, extend the push, and then we're getting a little bit of a pullback. But yeah, NVIDIA, definitely that 400, Sean, is very, very interesting. You can see that every time we kind of pop above 400, you kind of catch a nice strong bid up here into 5. So we've been doing about about 100-point range on NVIDIA since July, it would seem, since we got this nice strong push through this level and a little bit of an expansion of this range here. So maybe that trend is definitely slowing down a little bit. 500 resistance, 400 support. NVIDIA chopping around, playing a little bit of a ping pong between those levels.
Yeah, I just want to say something about Trader Joe here in the chat, because I believe Trader Joe, shout out to you as well. You're dead on in this one. I just think cash is king. He says, be like Sean and wait for A+ setups. Look, what I'm saying is that for trading standpoint, day trading will be here every single day. But look at the NASDAQ here, Fabian, just real quick. This NASDAQ in the month of November absolutely ripped to the upside there. Now, I'm going to try to find out what the put-call ratio is on the triple Qs. I'm going to reach out and see if we can figure that out. I'm sure some of you probably even have it right now, and if you know what it is, put it in the chat. But why hold on? Why not get something out right now? If the market continues to rip higher, you could put more money to work up here. If you just had $1,000 and you put it to work down here it went up 10% this month, right? So now you're up $1,100, right? If you take out your $100 profit that you had right there and you held on, if it comes all the way back down in, you can reinvest it, that's fine. But then if it just rips up a little bit higher, you can just buy that back at 16.2. Wait for a 16.2 break. It's at 15.9. I feel like the risk that pulls back into 14.8 or 15, you're risking, let's just say $900, right? It's 900 points back down into this level, or you can just wait, and if you get $200 to $300, again, point bounce back up to the upside, that's when you can sort of engage some of your longs. If you're perma long and you don't want to get out of anything, that's fine. I do think waiting for some kind of a pullback into 14, I mean, even just wait for 15,000 then. If you don't think it's going to go to 14.8 or anything like that, then just wait. The stock market, especially if you're an investor, can be all about dollar cost averaging. So I don't know if right now is the right time to be buying any of these dips. And if we are like-minded with a lot of the other money out there, then you are going to see a fall down. No, like who's coming to protect the NASDAQ right now? Look at this. Straight to the downside. Right? You have Apple breaking through 190 right now. NVIDIA just keeps on ticking lower, guys. It's just breaking through 460 as we speak. I'm excited to trade today, but honestly, I want to trade on the short side.
All right, let's talk Uber. Back to the upside this morning, ever so slightly here. We are coming off with the market downside right now, but here is the list of what is going to happen in, not this Friday coming up, but the week after on Friday. JBL, Builders First Source, which is BLDR, and Uber here, all going into the S&P 500. Sealed Air Corp, SEE, Alaska, and SolarEdge, SEDG, coming out of the S&P 500. So again, that's going to happen. I mean, the effective date will be the 18th, Monday at the open, but the close, when the changes get made, will be the 15th for Uber.
All right, guys,
Let's give some information here about what it takes to get into the S&P and why a stock moves up when it goes into the S&P. We'll start with the latter before the former. A company stock often rises on the news that it's joining the S&P because fund managers who track the actual fund have to buy it and add it to their portfolio. So you have some additions going into some big money portfolios there. Now, with respect to the entry requirements, you have to have the members of the index must have positive earnings in the most recent quarter over the prior 4 quarters. And the constituents have to actually be at least $14.5 billion in market cap to come in. The average for an entry, though, about 30-something billion. Uber's well over 100, so it meets that handily, Brendo.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. Again, the 15th is the Friday at the close, and then Monday the 18th at the open is when Uber will officially be in the S&P.
All right. Look, fantastic. I mean, Uber's been fantastic for a minute. And the thing is that I've been lucky enough to be long this name in the 30s. This, for me, is a definite sell day right now. So I'm going to turn a little bit bearish on this name. And the reason why, again, is just for the very simple point of what the hell has happened to Uber? I mean, this name has absolutely took off. And I do think that this is not something that should surprise anybody. We've known about this 5 straight quarters of profitability. Such a big name in everybody's world right now is Uber. It needs to be in the S&P 500. It's highway robbery that it hasn't been. But now that it's being added to it, I just feel like it's a sell the news type of thing. Uber continues to, I mean, I could zoom back out as far as you want. And I'm doing this kind of on purpose because the last time I've even done this, I don't even know when it is. So I'm not sure any levels that are going to come into play here for Uber, as here we go right there at $60. Starting to hit some highs here, and this, okay, finally, this is what we wanted to show you. I just wasn't sure about the time. Back here in 2021, when everything was going absolutely insane in the market, and people and stocks were getting insane valuations. Well, back then it was insane for Uber to get some of these valuations, but now you're back into profitability again, and everyone loves this stock. That to me is a little bit of a red flag. So I said fade 61. On the note here, I'm like, hey, you're going to be up 5 or 6%. I'm bearish today, but maybe we're a little too bearish. But look at Uber up here. I mean, does this not have to be something? I mean, let's let it break through. I mean, if we get run over at a 61 short, let's let it settle. Excuse me. Let's let it settle down a little bit here in the open. Let me just have a quick look to see if there are imbalances on this. Wow, Path going up there. UiPath, Salesforce, all sell side right now as the market gets a little bit heavy. I think you fade any of these pop-ups here. And today, if Uber wants to get going, man, I like the 61, 62 for a short. I don't want to stand in front of a freight train though. So that's going to be a difficult situation for me. So anyways, I like Uber short. I just feel like we got to find the right times. I'm trying to short Uber, and that daily chart tells me everything I need to know, man. You're just bouncing its head up against here. So I think it's a short at some point. I will be selling some of my shares at lunchtime.
bit of looking back on the chart as well, and I have that 61 marked as well there, Sean. Some interesting levels here. Yeah, some resistance, weekly resistances that we're coming into right there at that 61 and that 64 being kind of that all-time high level. And yes, excuse me. Yeah, so we've held that 59 in the pre-market, so we're holding that pretty well. So 61 is the next stop that I'm seeing here. But yeah, if we can catch a bid on this up in through that 61, I think that will be kind of decisive there. A little bit of a 61 over under potentially, and that reaction high as well. 62, I'm watching that as well. 61.5, kind of a level as well on when you look left towards those weeks that we did make all-time highs there. So I think if we hold above this pre-market consolidation area, kind of from some after-hour consolidation from last week as well, I think we'll be well poised to give 61 a little bit of a test and see what we do there. But definitely in play today.
All right, let's get some Tesla Chinese numbers coming through for November. I mean, we talked a little bit about the three Chinese, Li, Neo, and Xpeng going back to last week, but we finally get this 17% decline or 17.8% decline year over year for November. Still 82,432, nothing to sneeze at for Tesla.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag here. When you look at the one data point that you mentioned, Brendo, 17.8% year over year decline in November, sure, but that's still a 14.3% increase from their October deliveries. And when you take the year as a whole, the year to date, their China sold EVs, they sold about 853,600 of these bad boys, which is a 31.5% year over year increase. So if you take it on the micro level, not so good. The macro level looks a little bit better.
This market still marching lower here. It was an eventful week, to say the least, last week for Tesla and Elon specifically, with all things Cybertruck coming to life finally. But it was a sell the news event for the Cybertruck. We're holding, though, above some of these support levels so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to highlight a super chat. Thank you so much, Mr. Westermeyer, one more time. And not just because you agree with me. Sean, you are right. Well, can I show this? How do I show this to my wife? I know Marissa's busy right now, but it says right here, Sean, you are right. So, yeah, Marissa, if you're watching, please acknowledge this. But no, wait for the setup. So I think that's right, Mr. Westermeyer. And if you do have other projects like real estate and whatnot, maybe shoveling, maybe raking some leaves, other projects as well. But yeah, wait for setups. And talking about waiting for setups, that's pretty much exactly what we wrote down here for our sticky note here today on our friend Tesla, and I don't think it needs to be too much stressless. Chef Joe asked me what was I talking about. I just said we're looking at bad numbers from China. I know that doesn't really look like the word China there either, but if you see what we're talking about right here, bad numbers out of China, but still like the support level of 232. Let's give it a chance and wait. We've jumped in front of Tesla a couple times, thinking that, hey man, it's made a move down in, and we just want to get long. But the thing is, it will then test lower on you. And if you don't wait for specific prices and have specific outs on Tesla, you can get absolutely destroyed. Tesla was my #1 stock a couple days last week, and that was because we were patient. Well, look at this level. I mean, how could we not wait at least for down into here? That's not a good line, but down into there, into this 232 area where you've got a bounce from last Friday. You've got more bounces from mid last week. Early last week, you bounce again from those levels. This is why we like it. This is a 20-minute chart, and you can see, look at us extending this 232 all the way back out, right? So it's actually held all the way back to middle of November. So let's see if today is bad enough news for this name to come back down. It's kind of like a give and take, as we just talked about. Sales declined 18% year over year, but still selling 82,000 cars there. And despite a 14% increase in China Model 3 and Model Ys compared to October. So maybe they are righting the ship, but still year over year, it's a down number. I could see Tesla not behaving properly. There's a lot of stocks that have been up over this last little while, and I've been saying this the whole time. Tesla's one of these names that we don't have the, sorry about that. I don't feel like there's reasons for this name to be this close to the 50-period moving average. I like the robo-taxi. I like everything they're talking about, but it still remains low. Obi, I think part of this problem is Elon Musk and sort of who he is. And I don't know if it's going to be Tesla specific, how much longer this is going to last. But Elon being in the news, not overly positive over the last little while with some of the ad talk there on X. I just wonder if people think that maybe he needs to sell more Tesla stock to support the possibly fledgling business of X. And I don't know what their numbers look like, but if advertisers are dropping out and the only way you're going to make revenue is by people paying for that blue check mark, I don't think that's a good base for Tesla. So I'm bidding 232. Going to drop it if it breaks back down below 230. So
yeah, I really like that 232 level. Again, in my morning plan, I kind of have that this area written down as support as well. Very, very clear. Over the past 3 weeks, we've done nothing but held. Sure, you violate the level a little bit right there, pulling back in to that 228 right there, but then the reclaim, and then it comes right back in and selling off. Bidding back up off of that 232. Very, very strong. But something else to note right here, if you look at this previous this earnings report, we got some strong sellers coming in off of this earnings reaction right here underneath that 250. And as you can see, we kind of based in, you came back up, and when we kind of come right back into those levels, those sellers kind of come back in over and over again, but a little bit of a sandwich between that 232 for sure. But yeah, no, that the whole X thing I think was pretty funny there, Sean. I don't know if you saw that little snippet of him talking to I guess Bob Iger and kind of giving them the message. I think that's pretty epic there. I think he'll figure out a way. Elon kind of always does. He's trying to make X into like a different kind of app, right? So he doesn't really care about these advertisers if he already has plans set in place for revenue sources from other revenue from other sources. So I think he might have something up his sleeve there, but that confidence.
Yeah, but it's like why as Tesla shareholders do we need to suffer for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact is like Tesla does move around off of whatever he says every now and then, but you can see the chart. It always seems to catch a bid at the end.
Always? It catches a bid at the end until it's not your friend.
Yeah,
but we'll wait to see. I mean, we have Obi
that
in
day
the
has
building
yet
now,
to come.
So yeah, Neil is on vacation. Some people thought that maybe I was being serious about him no longer being here, but he's still here. Take a vacay, and then we've got the wonderful Obi here. So we'll have some good trades coming through today. We haven't talked about Amazon yet. Maybe at some point. Let's go over to the desk and find out what is going on. Well, see, there you go. Aura Alpha loves the combo between you and I. Okay, right here, Big Mac combo. Boom. All right, what's up to the best combo in all of Trader TV Live history? It's the very handsome Sharif and Brendan.
Nice you, Sean.
Just pours it on.
It does.
Pours it on. 42,162, the high for Bitcoin here. A bit of a pullback back below 42,000 right now, but still holding nicely. This ramp to the upside continuing. For Bitcoin, worth noting, we got some November delivery numbers for Ford. Just came out there, 174,000 and change in the month of November. That's everything. If you remember, we were just talking about Tesla selling 84,000 in China alone, only EVs, obviously. So some context for Ford, but nice look for crypto as well.
Faster for Ford, yeah. Just kind of letting that,
sink in a little.
Sink in, exactly. All right, guys. We haven't been this high on BTC since May 2022. A few reasons for this. I'm sure you already have heard this multiple times. Spot Bitcoin ETF imminent, question mark. The other tailwind, obviously, is the halving event that we know is coming in May of 2024, so just a few months away. And last but not least is the interest rates. Crypto is looked at as a speculative asset. When we have a high interest rate environments, speculative assets tend to suffer. As we, anticipate, the Fed no longer increasing rates and possibly even cutting rates early next year, we're going to see these speculative assets rise in cost, Brendo. So nice move.
Yeah, if you break that down, going back to Ford, if you break that down, it was 8,958 electric vehicles for Ford.
And how much money did they lose per 30,000, 40,000?
But worth a note there, guys, for F.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering about that story. Their November deliveries Okay, not bad though. Electric vehicle sales up 43% for Ford. Look, we've been talking about AMD to the downside. It just broke 120. I just wanted to get to that quickly. We used to talk about GPUs when we talked about crypto. You know, now we don't talk too much about those. I have some GPUs that are no longer being used that used to mine crypto as well. But okay, so that's that. Look, I mean Coinbase 50. I mean, let's go. Awesome. And then a bunch of these as well. Coinbase's 52-week high was 134. Well, that was easy. That got taken out. A lot of these new highs that came into place were all 52-week highs, and now you're on an island up here with a huge move over the weekend in crypto. Now, the thing about all of this is, look, I don't know why Coinbase is up as much as it is. You guys tell me why it's up 100% in a month. I mean, that's just from 70 all the way up to 145. Now, I do understand. I can't. I'm always going short because this is 15% short float, and I don't know at what point is there going to be a report that comes out that says what the hell is literally going on with Coinbase right now. And I just want to say congratulations. Whoever got this right definitely got it right. I mean, 100% in a month, that is not the move of Bitcoin, right? So I'm trying to figure it out, what's going on with this name. I don't even want to call up HUD 8 because I know Brendan sold it, but HUD 8, absolutely monster as well. Yeah, I know. And actually, I'm probably still underwater on HUD 8. And he's right. It doesn't really matter what price you're in at for this thing. But I only bring it up because it's like, what the hell is going on with all of these stocks, man? HUD 8 again, like there has to be something up. This is obviously a reverse split today, which is why everybody's talking about HUD 8. But there it is, up to 1170 today. So yeah, Brendan, is this 4 for 1 here on HUD 8? 2 up to 11. It actually seems like it's going to be a lot more than 2 to 11. What am I talking about? 4 to 1, 5 to 1, 6 to 1 today, possibly for HUD 8, up huge. So just be careful with that one. I'm going to find out more about it. So that's why we talk about that as a joke. What? Okay, so I thought someone said I was on mute there. 144, 143 to the. I still have my earpiece in, so if you need to tell me anything. But anyways, I feel like Coinbase is a short up near that 150. Call me crazy, but we touched 150 earlier. Now you're back down into 144. Bitcoin's still rocking. We only have 3 minutes to go, and I know there's lots to talk about. But here's Bitcoin, just real quick. Look at this move up. It doesn't coincide with what's happening to Coinbase. So I really haven't been able to figure it out over the last 5 minutes. Bitcoin, again, trying to bounce off this 41.5. I still feel like we test 40 probably back down in today, tomorrow. I'm not sure when, but huge weekend for crypto. Congratulations to everybody. And there it is, Brendo. So there's the news right there. Thanks a lot. It's 5 to 1 for HUD 8. So that's why I brought that up. I saw it ripping up there today, and obviously it's not up 400% for no reason. So 5 to 1. So 2, again, I guess. Well, wait a minute. Where did we close? We closed. So it's up more aggressively than that 5 to 1 because you do get back in that name as well. But hey, every time something reverse splits, Obi, it tends to get a little bit spicy back into the downside. So watch out for all y'all HUD 8 owners out there.
Yeah, I think I forget what it was. There was one strategy, post split runners was a thing a few years ago, where like things would just split. And maybe they have a little bit of a short flow, and then post split, kind of a run up as well. But yeah, definitely Bitcoin. Talk about 150% on the year. Talk about outperforming the S&P by just a little bit, right there. Bitcoin definitely a very solid performer this year. And yeah, Coinbase kind of we've seen what it's been doing. A little bit of a very strong uptrend and a little bit of a gap up as well into that 150. So maybe let's see on a little bit of a relief if we can come back into these Friday prices right at that 135, about 10 points away. So quite a wide range there potentially if we're going to do a little bit of a gap fill down to that level. But again, if Bitcoin is holding and continues off on its kind of run today, we might see some of these pre-market levels holding as well. And I'm also going to be watching, of course, some of these miners, Mara, Raya, everything looking relatively similar here. A little bit of a gap up and a hold. 15 looking very interesting as well. Let's take a quick look left at this chart just to see some of these levels right here. So it got a little bit of a base right here, just around 15 as expected. A level of interest, no doubt. And yeah, 16, it would seem about a point, about every point seems to be roughly a level here on Mara. So very liquid name, very full of opportunities. Especially you can see the run up that we've been having. It's holding a bit. It's holding higher lows pretty much every day on Mara. So I think that's definitely a good look for today.
All right, you want to go back to the board quickly? We have less than one. Okay, we have 30 seconds. Hurry up, Sharif.
Yeah, Spotify, job cuts, 17% up on the day, guys, for Spot.
Yeah, 1,500 workers lost their job.
By the way, if you want to look at Spotify, you have multiple reasons now. The new podcast. Shout out to the boys over there. What a great job on the weekend. Okay, Sharif, calm down a little bit there. I know you're excited about your first podcast, but it was a great one. Definitely check it out. I definitely read that. I like the one good thing at the end, and we could talk about that in a couple minutes. Only 4 seconds. I didn't even hit the countdown. What the hell? There we go. It is now open. Who cares? Forget about that. Ring the damn bell. We are now open. There we go. Look at AMD already cracking through that 120 level. 3, 2, and 1. And now we are officially open here on Trader TV Live. So welcome one more time as we continue to watch some of these crazy names. And there goes AMD breaking through that 120. So the market continues to make new lows, really. Basically, we just touched down at 15,850. I mean, we've been looking bearish all morning long. It sucks that we're down 1%, but let's go. We're waiting for Tesla to fall back in a little bit as well, into 232 for Tesla. Thank you so much, Casual Soze there. I appreciate all your kind words. Now let's see what's happening here with the market, guys. Intel with the move upside right now. Is Bitcoin ripping? Is that what I'm hearing about? No, I am not right now. Okay, as we go, 43 bucks for Intel. I like Intel short as well. Tesla trying to bounce off that level. I'm not into anything yet. I'm just looking over the notes. Uber, let's just check out that. What are we doing? Oh, Uber, no! As we go back down into the downside, that was way too dramatic. Uber right now, 59 and change bouncing off. We knew it would be a sell the news type of day for Uber.
Yeah, a little bit of a chop. Again, I don't want to get too involved right off the open. Like you guys have been, I guess maybe watching over and over again. I like to stay a little bit patient. Maybe let that first few minutes kind of print and let it show itself there. Very strong selling from the pre-market session there on both the ES and the NQ and a lot of these other names there. And Google, I'm watching this 129 as well. 129, a little bit of interesting. Okay, so we get stopped out of that 145. 145 does not want to hold on the Amazon, so I will step out of the way and let it do its thing and look for the next trade there, Sean. I'm also watching a little bit of the SPY there. We saw how that 454 was a little bit of a support last week. We're kind of teetering at 456, actually a point away from that. That 145 on Amazon seems a little bit heavy there. Let's see if we can hold some of these levels, 144 halves. But the NQ kind of breaking through last week's low. Was kind of holding that level in view there as a potential bounce, and that level kind of comes right in and it kind of violates by a few points there. But we still have time to reclaim. But if we're going to continue this kind of selling pressure from last week, that could very well be it for that level. We are kind of rejecting off of that 16 thou.
Yeah, we're short right now. We're short Uber as it continues to make moves to the downside. What's up, Adara?
Yeah, Spotify popping right off open, briefly mentioned earlier, but yeah, news of job cuts here. We were up about 10%, now we're up about 8.5. Really strong volume. Keep an eye on Spot, guys.
All right. Okay, right there now. Okay, so let's, guys, we're here, baby. It don't matter who's beside us right here. Here goes Uber to the downside as it continues to make a move down in. We are uber happy about this one as there it is, man, 48s, 49s. We're short 82s, and if you're not following the joint, here it is right here, man. It is your sticky note, and we talked about fading out Uber today. Bye-bye. See you later. We don't have to do anything else, man. This is that trade that you know, if you had one of them, take this one. There goes Uber, nicely done to the downside here. We cooking already today on Saint Uber's coming through. No, it is not rotisserie chicken time. It is time to catch a ride. But if you are on Uber down here, the ride is down to the short side. And I was just going to stop out, honestly, close to a break of 60. I was giving it to like I was actually giving it to 60 and a quarter, kind of some of these pre-market levels that we kind of bounced around. But here we come back into the downside. I don't want to celebrate overly too much. We're out of 40% of this trade as it's trying to bounce here around 50. I think this is good enough. I'm going to bid some 46s now. Maybe even get out now. Like, why is this not go? There's 46. Okay, all right, we'll take it as it comes back into that level. So now 40 cents in the money on a decent position right now. You guys want the hot dog cannons to get fired off for this trade? Well, there you go, Paulie D. Shout out to you as Jim Tan Laundry, or what's the thing there for Paulie D there? Good job on that one. You probably never watched Jersey Shore.
Not my kind of thing.
You're bad. All right. Keep going, man. Is there anything else that you're on? I'm only on this. If you can, Jim
Patiently
Tan
waiting. Laundry?
Is that what it was? No. Jim something laundry. T-shirts. No, something about wearing a T-shirt. Anyways, okay. We'll get on that. Obi, my bad.
Yeah.
But that's what we're looking at right now as we go. BYND rocketing beyond meat. This is beyond my belief if this is going to the upside. Wow, there it is. Nice move back upside as well. But we got to watch out for St. Hubert's because here it is right back up to 60 again.
Yeah, ES and the NQ catching a little bit of a bounce there, kind of reclaiming those levels. 145 right back in, so I do want to add on to that trade a little bit there. Let's see if that 145 holds. Kind of a key level from last week. Again, making lower lows overall, but trying to take a piece of the flow there. If we are wrong, that's all right. We kind of, let's see. It's coming right back into the 70s. If it's going to sell right back down in, that's perfectly fine. We got our stop in place that will take us out, and that'll take us out exactly where we are wrong, and there it is right there. So I did get a little too excited on that 145 reclaim there as it comes right back in and stops us out. So that is perfectly fine. I understand now that the selling pressure is quite overwhelming underneath this level. So I think I will be looking to short these pops from going forward there. Apple kind of holding above that 189 as well. Kind of let's turn our attention to there as some of these other names kind of sell off as well. So Apple right here, let me pull that up for you guys right here. So Apple has been holding a significant kind of a support, and it seems to be not selling off as aggressively as some of these other names in the market. So take a look at this 189, roughly right here, held pretty well all of last week. Yeah, sure, we violate by a point here, but then reclaims comes right back in. So let's see what we do with this 189. If Apple's going to hold this 189.5 and not really get anywhere too far, that's perfectly fine. We were potentially looking for the long on Apple instead of some of these other names which are deciding to kind of sell off. Again, the NQ kind of playing around with last week's low. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. Let me try to get a little bit long here. Again, as we kind of do a little bit of a reclaim. I know I did say I will be looking for the short, but if Apple's going to be knocking on the door of that 190 once again, I might just get into this and give it a little bit wider right here to give it some room to work. Okay, so we'll let that work. Again, third time, maybe a charm, but I do have a little bit of a three-strike rule. If I'm getting too aggressive on one side, kind of going long, stopping out, going long, stopping out. If that happens to me 3 times, again, I'm saying it out loud, so I actually remember it and follow it, because sometimes I don't. Yeah, if we get stopped out this third time around, definitely I got to be looking for the short underneath that 145. But if we're going to hold some of these levels on some of these stronger names like Apple and Softy as well, kind of looking like it is doing a little bit of a bounce off of what was previous all-time highs. So let's take a quick look at Softy right here. I think the 366 roughly was a previous all-time highs, and we are kind of holding that as of right now. But a strong continuation from last week's selling happening as well. So maybe we are poised to kind of break that support level. ES looking quite a lot stronger than the NQ, so maybe some of those constituents pulling it up. Now, again, we were talking about the Dow Jones this morning, Sean, and yeah, something remarkable is that the Dow Jones has only been gapping up and holding its day lows and continuing day after day, and almost holding up so well that it's back towards its all-time highs pretty much. So yeah, let's take a look at this chart here, take a look at this daily, and if we just look left real quick, all-time highs right there, just underneath that 37. and we are knocking on the door of that 36.5, 36.4, excuse me, 36.4s, and yeah, very, very strong. This is what I mean. A little bit of a consolidation here on the way up, but every day we've held levels pretty much every day. Gap up, gap up, gap up, continuation on the Dow Jones. Again, one of the biggest constituents of the Dow Jones itself is UNH. So let's take a look at that leader as well. Kind of, again, market leaders I think are a good place to look for potential sentiment and maybe some market direction as well. So a little bit of muted action on UNH. And there goes Uber, says.
Ripped up to the top side right there.
Okay,
So we're going to get stopped out of Uber, so we'll slap a fail on that last little piece there. But look what else we're doing right now. Who remembers Palantir on the sticky note 1950? So we just got some out at 70 right there. What's up, Adara?
View popping right now, up about 63%. Basically, on Thursday, there was news that a 10% owner had made a $208,000 sale here. So keep an eye on View, guys.
Level long.
Yeah, we were just talking about our Google trade. So there goes, by the way, there goes Uber. You know, we got some out at the 200 period moving average. We tried it again. I just wanted to short a level that I thought could be interesting there. We're still got to wait for 61. So I'm going to put an order at 60.75 right now, see if it does get back up there, and then possibly look for the short then, as we're going to get exhausted at some point here on Uber. And I believe the move will hit back to the downside. I'll start it maybe a little bit right now as we go. All right, Google's absolutely tanking right now. So I don't know, we just got a number or something, but Google coming right back in. We have to take a little bit out here on this name. So let's start to do that as the profits flying in now for Google. Short right there on VWAP. We just got a nice little bounce up there to 129.50. So we are short. Look at what's happened right now to Palantir. Nice move back up to the upside here coming through. There's some kind of a verdict coming through right now on Intel. Let's find out what's happening with Intel. Look at SoFi, man. SoFi is a banger of a trade. Guys, we are basically have the biggest trade right now possible for myself as we short Google and make a nice amount of money here on the short here for Google. Also reloaded back into Uber, man. We on one today now again as we have another good morning here. Palantir makes that move upside as well. Check out the sticky note if this is what you're good for. Nice move back in for Uber. Nice move back down here for Google. Let's go, guys.
Yeah, so that long kind of coming right back in. That 145, again, a little bit of a key area, a little bit of a magnet, if you want to call it there. We've seen a lot of chopping and churning around that 145, and I guess the idea is just take it into that 145 and see if it kind of holds for some upside potential there. But yeah, Apple kind of coming right into that 189. We said we want to wait for that 189 to come in. We're about 30 pennies away from that, so maybe some a little bit more time to see if that support from last week is still holding as support. Kind of Apple relatively stronger than the rest of these names. I can see the spider as well kind of climbing back up into VWAP, so the spider bounce is definitely there as well. And yeah, Alphabet really heavy there as we broke that
Alphabet
129.
Huge, dude.
Yeah, it's super heavy there. Kind of a continuation from last week. We talked about how some of these tickers are making their lows. Nvidia kind of, I think Sean mentioned this earlier. You only wanted to look short on Nvidia, and Nvidia has been doing nothing but that, kind of falling to the downside right there, kind of coming in to that 455 low. 455.5 is the low right now. Let's see where and when the NQ will bounce. Who knows? But that 189 on Apple, I'll be watching real close as it is right there as of right now. So let's see if there's any sort of size coming in at the level, any sort of, I guess, reserves or a bid holding in and around this 189 for us to risk off of. There goes Amazon kind of knocking on the door of that 145. 80s keep on coming in with some strength there. And then if we get the bounce on the NQ, we can get a little bit of that tailwind to potentially push us through that 145 as well. About 50 pennies in the money right now, but we did kind of pay the price, getting in a little too early, a little too hastily initially off of those long tries. But like I said, third time, potentially the charm there, Sean.
Oh my God. We were so, like, the fact that we were sitting here at VWAP on Google, man, we got quite a nice fill there. And the fact that Google goes immediately, we just took, like, my best out here on Google was 71, so almost a dollar club right there for Google as that just came back in. So we'll see if we can spin that very, very soon. Look, Palantir just came in and out there, so I don't know. We took some money, then we averaged it in, and then it just dropped it out. So we are net positive here on Palantir, but it is making that move back down. And I'm wondering about maybe buying here. Let's try to buy some 43s here and just give this one to like 1934. I don't really know why, but we'll do that. That bottom right there is 33s, 31s. So let's see what happens there off that bottom take here for Palantir. Let's see if it can hold this level. Possibly not. All right, so darn. This is one of those things, again, where I'm throwing bad money after good. So like we've already had a monster trade here in Google. It's pretty incredible. And now I'm going to go, looks like we may turn our Palantir trade into a red one here today. That's too bad. We were net positive on this name despite just dropping it out, but the market just continues its weak hands here back into the downside. So, all right, maybe if we get a pop back into the 50s, we'll take some out, but we're getting close right now to getting out of Palantir as it just continues to make a move down. And then we captured a lot of profit back in on Uber off that last short, but still waiting for 61 to come through on Uber. What's up, Adara?
AppSci right now moving up about 35%, basically in a collaboration with AstraZeneca for AI-driven oncology. No specific news yet, but this one really strong, popping up on volume, guys.
All right, Palantir did come back up a little. Yes, sir. Oh, man, we just got out by the, I don't know, I keep saying that sentence, by the skin of your teeth. I don't even know if that makes any sense. But there it is, a nice move back up to the upside as we continue to go back up for PLTR. Let's hold on to this one in case we're right. We're out now. We got, like I said, pretty lucky to get a little bit of shares there on Google on the upswing. So now the NASDAQ looks like it wants to bounce a little bit off 15.8 right here. And I apologize, guys. I'm in 3 trades, and they're all decent sizes. So I will continue to look at the chat at some point. I know there's a lot of you want to look at GME. Let me pass it over to Obi now because I've been talking probably for too long. So let's go over to Obi, let him have the mic, and I'm going to look over at some GameStop for everybody.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, got a little bit long on that NQ bounce there, kind of holding that level. This is, again, last time I'm going to be potentially trying the long here as, again, Apple coming into that 189, still holding above it for now. But yeah, there we go. We get stopped out again. So I am totally done with the long there on Amazon. Thank you. Come again as Apple comes right back into that 189. So I'm going to be closely, patiently watching for this 189 potentially to hold, or if it doesn't, but something to note here. I'm going to take a little bit of a breather. We've got stopped out 4 times, so I've already kind of violated that 3-strike rule, even after talking about it out loud. But that's fine. We kept our risk pretty close there on that 4th try, just above that 144. So something of note, we've broken below last week's lows, not only on a lot of these constituents, but as well as the NQ. And I guess I haven't really taken a look at the ES, but the ES is holding relatively well. But the NQ itself, we have kind of pushed below last week's low, which was, I think, right here, 15,860-ish. So just underneath 15,860. So we are kind of holding right underneath that level. So I'll give it a little bit of time. If it's going to reclaim last week's low, maybe we get long after we give it a little bit of a patience there. Google as well, kind of that 129. Let's take a look at Google. So that 129 is interesting to me as well on Google, and we are holding this right now. So if we're going to consolidate and hold, if the sellers want to be strong, I think they've kind of shown their initial hand there. If they're going to continue to the downside, we got to look for these pops to sustain. So that's what I'm be looking for now. If the pop sustains and consolidates, maybe I'll be looking to potentially look for a place to risk the long. But if we continue to pop and sell off, then maybe we'll look for those pops to get into short for the continuation to the downside there. Sean, oh my God, this NVIDIA straight to the downside.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
so maybe I do want to get a little involved here with this NVIDIA trade. Amazon, wow, coming straight down that 144 quadunk to the downside. Softy as well. I had kind of that all-time high marked at that 366.65, and we've pretty much pushed below it by 2 points. 365 also getting broken right there. 364 halves coming in. That 189 seems to be holding on Apple. A little bit of a bounce there as we start to print the second 15-minute candle of the day. here. But yeah, no real relief I'm really seeing here, Sean, except for on the SPY. So maybe we should be looking for a long on the SPY, as the ES is looking much healthier than the NQ today. So a lot of these SPY names may be holding a lot better there. We got a super chat from Gregory Martin. Weird question from a beginner trader. How come the market is down everywhere today, out of the blue, for me at least? Greetings from Europe. I don't know about if it's only down today, but we've been kind of selling off a little bit from last week, right? Especially if you look at some of these market leaders like Nvidia. A lot of this strength that we've had this year was driven by the AI hype. A lot of that initial buying pressure was due to AI sentiment, right, off of those lows. So now when the AI is kind of cooling off, we're seeing a little bit of a sell-off. So the first time it's cooling off. So I don't know when and whether or not it's actually cooling off, but the charts have shown, especially on Nvidia, this is potentially the third red week that we are printing as of right now. Let me just pull up this chart for you guys. Where did it go? Real quick.
Uber's tanking a little bit. We have Uber here making a move down. I just want to talk about, I did get it. Thank you to Tisha Perkins and everybody out there. SSNT halted. We did have that story, but Adara's got something else right now. So let's go over to Adara.
Yeah, BYND moving up right now, up almost 19%, about 18.5 right now. No news on this one yet, but BYND one to watch, guys.
Yeah, we saw, thank you so much, Adara, for that one. We did see Beyond Meat before starting to go a little bit ham. Beyond Meat, that one didn't hit that well, I guess. Okay, all good. All right, here we go, man. We did talk about fading Uber off of 61, so guess what, guys? Let's go. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day right now. Nice little move downside here for Uber. Good call, I think, at that 61 level. Who'd ever thought about Uber 61? Oh yeah, it's right here, guys. It's a sticky note. That's the high of the day. 61.01 right there, given to you one more time, coming through for Uber. Another good, nice little name for us. And we are almost close. Let's just do it anyways. We're 90 cents in the money on Google. Let's see if this one comes back in a little bit here, hopefully for us. And all is not lost, as we will continue to look for some longs coming through. Bitcoin and GB. I want to look, oh, that's SSNT. I want to look at GBTC again because, again, this name just made its highs there at 33.60, now trying to hover back around a little bit. Let's wait to see what can happen here with GBTC. Yeah, I didn't forget about you, Tisha, there. Unfortunately, SSNT is halted. So if you guys want to look at that again, I think Adara just had the story on that one. But unfortunately, guys, like, honestly, this is part of the problem. Like, I'm trading with shares, trying to make some money here, and I'm just going to look at the stocks that we're trading, and it's a nice little money ride right now as we ring the register here on Uber. Nice upside moves, and then, hey, man, we got it all back on Palantir and more, as Palantir long at 40, out right there at 60. Good little number there for PLTR. Let's see if it can't continue its upside move there for Palantir, as Google trying to flush as well. And Uber, we didn't get too many out there. Let's get another piece at 62 if we can. We still like Uber down here, guys. And then the other one everyone wants me to look at, I hear more screaming in the chat, look at GME. Okay, nice move back up. Watch out for 1650. Again, I will do a little bit of work on that one. There's 1640 on the daily chart. That looks as nice, but we got to get out of some more stock here as Uber makes the move down. We just took some 60s there, and Google's trying to make some little hovering kind of moves as the market goes down. Look, guys, no surprise why I'm not surprised. Maybe you are, and thank you so much for the super chat. But when I wrote down here, this was at 8:30. This was even earlier than that, 8 o'clock. We wrote down here, feeling bearish. That was at 8 o'clock, man. That's when the market was all the way up here. So about 1%, or let's call it about 0.7% down from there. Maybe now we start to get a little bit bullish, but let's hold on to some of these shorts and see where we go. So Palantir again, 7 cents in the money. Google just busted back up, debating a VWAP out here, but there goes Palantir. Look at that move. Nice move back up to the upside, back into the 50s here for PLTR. So let's take another piece out and just continue to trade here.
Yeah, so a little bit of a bounce there happening. So we did get a little bit long. Apple, we got stopped out, so I did a little bit of a chase short underneath that 144, and then pretty much stopped out instantly as we are bouncing. So I do want to kind of piece off. We did say we want to wait patiently for a pop to get short into, so that's what I'll continue to do right now. But if that 189 is going to hold on the Apple, we are a little bit long there. So going back to that NVIDIA that super chat from before, reflecting on that. So we have been kind of selling off. It's not just today that the markets are down, but we have been selling off quite significantly since NVIDIA earnings there, as Sean astutely pointed out this morning. We kind of come right back into that previous earnings level and then kind of reject that 500 mark. So I think that is pretty significant price action to say there. That 500 reject, a little bit of a double top happening, kind of confirmed with not just one, two earnings report price actions kind of rejecting this 500 mark back down. So maybe this is all she wrote for a potential AI rally, as we are going to finally catch some relief here. But yeah, take a look at the weekly here on NVIDIA. This is what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, we haven't necessarily been only selling off today. We've been selling off for the past 2 weeks, especially here on NVIDIA there. So it would seem as the Apple 189 is still kind of a level there, as the whole market quadrunks about, what is this, almost from 16,000 in the pre all the way down to almost 15,800, hovering just about 25 points above that level, and then off that bounce, Apple only comes down 1 point from 190 to 189, holding that previous week support. So we are long off of that potential level. Let's see if those buyers kind of come right back in and we get a little bit of a chop to the range. 191 is what I'm looking for here. That bounce on Amazon looking quite strong there. I don't necessarily want to short it unless and until it comes right back into that 145. We talked about that 145 being a little bit of a magnet, and it's showing itself today there. That 143 half bounce all the way back into 144.60s, 144.80s, kind of knocking on the door of that 145. So maybe this is the pop that I'm looking to short into. But if Apple is going to be holding this 189, if Softy's rebidding back up through that previous all-time high price, kind of an interesting level as well at that 366.60, I do want to stay a little bit cautious for the short there. Again, I did want to look at the long off of this 145 initially, but if the market is going to show me that these sellers are going to come in consecutively at lower highs, then I will definitely respect that, as the trend is my friend there, Sean. But sometimes, clearly, again, I like to do counter trend sometimes as well, and I get caught offside a lot when I do that, because I think I start to realize the structure around my counter trend trading is not as crisp as I'd like it to be. So that's something I'm also kind of working on there. But as we kind of pop into that 145, I am looking for that short with the trend today.
Yeah, good note there. I just did. Yeah, we're going to go to Adara and then we'll come back. What's up, Adara?
Silver Sun Technology, SSNT, has reopened to the upside, up about 160% right now. Basically, the news on this one is a $1 billion investment from a private equity firm into this company. So keep an eye on SSNT, guys.
Okay, thanks, Adara. Yeah, we had a lot of questions about SSNT. So, again, reopening back up. Good news there for that. All right, we did get out of 75% of what we had left there for Google. Again, ringing the damn register on that one. This is, for me, I don't know if it's going to be my #1 stock at the end of the day, but man, oh man, was that a good trade there. And finishing it off with Google there. Just getting some out as we cross back into VWAP. Good outs, as we got a lot out there at the bottom. So, like, honestly, man, nothing to worry about on that one. But look, what's something to worry about now. We are still positive, so it's a good thing that we did spin the money early on Palantir, because it's fallen back in a little bit here, and I don't know why. It's getting really crushed. Palantir coming back in nicely to the downside. So again, whether or not there's news or not, but that Silver Sun SSUT, nice move. SSNT, sorry, nice move there, and halted one more time, as Adair just brought that news to us that it was halted there, halted again, and now rehalted. Looking for an open. It's saying 980 right now, so anybody that is long SSNT will like that. Let me just see when we're going to get it resumed. 955.40 last halt, so look around 10 o'clock for resumption of trade for SSNT, and right now the tap is 980. So again, congratulations on that one for SSNT. All right, so Uber off that fade of 61, that's still working. I'm going to put some more up there, 60. 85 or so. We'll see if we can get something else back there. I was also waiting at 60.95 in case that came in, and then slightly above 61 is where we will push the tap out button on that one. And like I said, we did tap out of a little bit of Google. So Palantir, yeah, 1923 level. Okay. Yeah, so people want to talk about this. I mean, obviously Palantir is getting to the downside. And I wrote down here on the sticky note that, yeah, we did expect Palantir to come in a little bit, but 1950 is kind of what we liked, not right into here right now. So we'll still look at that. It is trying to hold strong, but oh, Jim Cramer said he likes Palantir. That's why it's dropping. That's hilarious, you guys, on all that. But Uber, nice move to the downside as well today, but has regained its bid. So watch out for a 61 break on that. And then Tesla, that's another look that we were looking at, especially on the downside. And guess what? We were bidding I can tell you what, we're still bidding it. 232.15, the low of the day here, 234.15. So missed it by a little bit as there goes Tesla right back up to the upside. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have, I mean, I always have a good, trying to have a good feel on the market. We're still under the 50 period and under VWAP. So feel like we probably have to catch some shorts here at some point. Obi, 1650 is a level I'm looking at for GameStop. Still a nice little high level here for GME.
Yeah, so I took a quick scalp there on the Amazon. Again, that 145, we talk about it being a little bit interesting there. And we are a little bit opposite, or we were a little bit opposite on those trades there, long on Apple, short on Amazon. But the idea is a little different again, if, like I said, I want to respect the pressure as much as possible, but I do want to lean a little bit short here if Amazon's going to give us that 145 rejection over and over again. But again, the fact that it is a magnet and the fact that the NQ potentially maybe is looking for a bounce here as that second 15-minute candle printing a little bit of green there, and we are holding some of those prices there. So what I'll be looking for there is to see if that prior bar kind of high breaks there, 15,860-ish. Just underneath that, but it seems like we covered a little bit too early there on the Amazon as it comes right back in off of that 145, and yeah, so that Apple as well. I think I'm gonna stay with that 189 long idea on the Apple because it was relatively strong off that level on that 189, and I'll be more than willing to kind of add into the trade if we kind of support there. But the NQ, if we kind of bounce here, I'm looking for that tailwind support on Apple potentially to come in as well. I'm watching SPYs as well, like I mentioned before, the SPY here. So the idea on the Amazon short was just take a quick kind of the wave down from off of that 145. But the fact that we are kind of holding, I do want to respect the buying pressure. If we're going to pop back through that 145, again, it's a messy level, so you got to stay on your feet. It is a key level, but it's kind of like I said, it's a magnet. It's a bit of a churn. We've seen price orbit this level over and over again. So the structure and the strategy to kind of interact with those levels is something that again I got to get much better with. But it does come in and provides you with ample opportunity to recycle that level and kind of farm that price over and over again, whether it's from the downside, from the upside. Magnets are magnets, and if price wants to orbit around a core interest, then you gotta respect that pressure and kind of work with it instead of working against it as much as possible. So we are kind of holding some of these highs there. I don't know if I still have that order in for Apple.
We shorted AMD and took about 20 or 30 cents on that one as well. I think this market still is short, and I'm going to try to remain short. Uber's at a level that we have some concerns with here as we just got short again on the high side of Uber. Watch out for that one. Let's go over to Adair for a recap.
We just got some economic data here at 10 a.m. We got factory orders month over month. So they came in at 3.6%, negative 3.6%, sorry, versus the consensus of negative 2.8, forecast of negative 2.3. The previous number also was revised from 2.8 to 2.3. And then factory orders ex transportation also lower than the forecast. The forecast was 0.3. We came in at negative 1.2. So keep an eye on those numbers. The Qs, yeah, still trading a bit low in the day, down about 1.2% here on the NASDAQ. In terms of individual stocks moving, we have NEO up about over 2% right now. They shared global infrastructure data, including 20,000 power chargers, so this is definitely one to watch. We also have Carvana, another car-related name, trading up about 13.5% today on an upgrade from JP Morgan with a price target increase as well. So those names both ones to keep on watch. Brought to you by Surge Trader, where traders can get a funded trading account up to $1 million and keep up to 90% of the profits. The program has simple rules and no time limits. Just go to surgetrader.com/TTV and use the promo code TTV for 10% off.
Once again, let's go as we go. Flush down, see ya, Uber. Look at that, man. I mean, there's back to back jacks right there. Look at Uber, man. 61 short sell fade. That's now twice. You could have had that exact trade, and now it's 50 cents in the money again, man. I hope my guy Justin behind me has this one short at 61 as it just continues to make moves down, man. I mean, there it is. Trading is easy, yet hard at the same time. Let's wait to see what happens here with Uber as a huge move back in. Big time profitability over here on Uber. And again, just stick with what you're doing. We'll take some more 51s and get out of Dodge on that one. Which name we might have to flush ourselves down the toilet is at a reload spot right now, and that's going to be AMD. It's a good thing we covered a little bit earlier, but here it comes, ripping right back up. Look at the market taking out the 50 period moving average right now. This one may not be a good trade here as we're getting ready to get stopped out potentially here on AMD. We're going to get stopped out through 50 up into the 60s, and we'll be stopped. We are short 26. This is not a great trade here. And when you fire this many bullets, man, sometimes you will, fire some blanks, unfortunately. And this one looks like it may just be that as the market is bouncing. There it comes. Sorry about that, guys. The market's bouncing back up right here. Looks like we'll take an L on this. That sucks, which is too bad. I mean, Uber is falling like a rock. We actually covered much more than half of this name as the market's on a move back. And there goes AMD. So unfortunately, that one failed on that top. So I thought maybe VWAP right there. We just took VWAP out at 50, held it to 60, got broken down on that one. We will have a negative name on our board today. And for me, that will be Advanced Micro Devices as Palantir's right here. I still think I need to short AMD though. That was a nice pop-up. Look at it come back now.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of a pop. So I did kind of, again, we're still long that Apple.
AMD? You're long. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm long on that bounce. We were looking, again, I kind of explained myself there, looking for a potential bounce on the NQ to give us that tailwind on some of these constituents to get long. We saw early signs of potential there when Apple holds that 189, and we were getting a little bit of a continuation there. So I did get, again, I want to interact with that 145, so I did get a little bit long here on the Amazon for a potential 145 test if we break and kind of continue through that level right there. So as we kind of come in, I'm going to be closely watching this right here. Again, that no real size on the book there on the way to that 145. It doesn't really seem like anybody's sitting at that 145 either. So if we do kind of bid right up through that, I think it may be pretty interesting as well. But yeah, again, NQ tailwind is what I'm looking for there. If Amazon decides to stay heavy at this level, that's perfectly fine. We'll stop out and look for that next trade. But Apple looking really nice there. That 190 potentially coming in there, Sean. I'm looking for that 191. I don't know if we're gonna get there. What do you think?
Apple, I'll give you a quick look on that in a second. Okay, so I just want to say we did reshort AMD and we just got a decent fill down there at 35. Okay, here it comes back in again. So we did give that one a short. Okay, do you want to look at Apple? Okay, let's look. 191, no. Okay, I'll just tell you that right now. But that's without even.
That's an instant no.
No, it's an instant no because I don't. Right. I think the market's lower today, and you're at 189.50. I do not see Apple getting back to those levels. I honestly, dude, I think it's up to you, but I really think this 190 and a quarter. If you get that, I'll be sitting there shorting it, waiting to short anything like that. There's the 200 period moving average. The thing is that it is relatively, bouncing around with the market here. So it's not something that I'll look at because it's basically, if you're going to trade Apple, I think maybe you should just trade the Qs or something. But I love Apple, and Apple's been a great stock to trade. So it's definitely bouncing off that 189. You have a great long right now. So, I mean, you already have a great spot. So I don't see any problems trying to hold for that dream. But again, you're at VWAP right here, Obi, and you're at, you're at some levels where I don't know, have you taken any out?
No.
No? Then I have to do this because I think that you should. But again, I understand what you're doing. And that's why, again, we're both here not to talk about each other's trades, but to give some help, support if there is anything going on there. The long could be there. So the reason why I say could break through that 190 a bit, the market is trying to hold the 50-period moving average. So Apple being such a huge percentage, I think 12% of the S&P, 7 or 8% of the NASDAQ, I could see it starting to go back up to the upside if we do hold. But again, look at my position, Obi. It is hard for me to be one way when we're 60 cents in the money on Google on the short. We are now 25 cents in the money on AMD on the short, and we are now 20 cents in the money on Uber on the short, and I'm trying to comment on a long. So right now, it's a good move back in for AMD. It just did make a little bit of a backfill into 25 there. So let me just bid some 31s. Well, we just punch out some 31s. We are bidding 22s. So if AMD comes back in, we'll do that. That's the 20-period moving average. So a little bit of a pullback here for AMD, and we'll take some more profits on that one. And then Uber's still paying the piper a little bit, but it seems to be pretty strong down here at 60.50, which we've noted a couple times. So let's get some more out here, 60.50 or so on Uber if we are able to. That might take 61 still to come.
Yeah, I'm still kind of waiting for that 61 to come in. I do want to interact with Uber, and I'm watching it pretty close there. Again, the first day it's being added onto the S&P 500 as that news came out earlier on Friday, I guess, at the end of the day there. And that pop and hold, that 59.5 right there, that 61, I got a couple levels marked here, as you guys can see with these lines, 64.06, kind of that all-time high level. Some resistances here as well on the way down to that one, that 61 as well. So I'm looking for that reclaim of that 61 to potentially get involved. But I do understand Sean's point there as well. That 61 is a little bit of a resistance, and unless and until we can get above that level, I don't necessarily want to look for the long there on Uber. And I'll watch that 161 over and over again if it does show that pressure, and kind of assess I guess. What's the right word? The probability of that 161 kind of breaking with aggression relative to how many times it's sold off underneath it if we do break back above, right? So here we go, a little bit of a hold and a bounce on the Amazon. Apple looking perfectly fine for me right now. I'm looking for potential places to get longer on this trade above this 189 if it'll have it. But yeah, there's a little bit of a sideways as well here on again, second 15-minute candle has been printed already. Yeah, it has been. So there's a third one. I was looking at a 30-minute. So the second 30-minute still has about 20 minutes left to go. So we've only printed about 10 minutes of that third 15-minute candle on the day there. A little bit of a consolidation I'm finding. The first one was quite wicky. We saw this on Amazon specifically, right? We saw this strong sell-off through that 144, gets to 144 halves and rebids right back above into 144.20s, and now we're kind of consolidating and holding off of a potential market bounce here. Again, ES looking relatively stronger than the NQ there, so a lot of these ES names definitely worth a look on the day there, Sean. So I'm going to pull up my map here real quick as I pass it over to you, sure, and we can take a quick look at some of these names that may be running and pushing the ES back up to the upside.
All right, let's have a look then. You'll find some more names here of what possibly is running right now. Sirius is launching on Rivian, I'm hearing right now. So we'll see if Siri has any sort of a move upside. Rivian's a name that we could possibly look at. I know there's some talk here about a firm, and I will look at a firm as it's breaking through $39 right now. I still don't mind Rivian. I would like to see it get above this $20 mark before we get going on some Rivian. I mean, It's 10-12 right now. I mean, there's still lots to talk about. You know, GameStop is been, and I'm going to slap, honestly, a fail on this one and then alert to everybody else, because although I'm missing it, it doesn't mean that everybody else is. So there goes GameStop again. We did talk about it. I did talk about that 1650 level. That's exactly where we're at right now. So if you like this trade, maybe you like it now even better for a possible short. But again, it started to take it off, and we said we like this garbage on GME down here near 1450. So the fact that we went down there and then busted up like this, wow, what a good day there for everybody on GME as it continues to make those highs. Look what's happening to AMD. It just fell back down, so we did get some bids there. I want to still remain net short. We've talked about that. Uber, good fill there, 55. That's a good trade. Look what just happened to Google, guys. What just happened to Google? Nice move back down for Google as the market fading a little bit. So there it is, man. We're back into the 79-cent club. Yeah, that doesn't sound as good as the dollar club. It's because it's not going. Let's get down into $1 for us here on Google. That'd be nice if we can get that one. But yeah, GameStop, I don't know, man. They're just break 1650. You know what? Maybe enough is enough, and we just go long against that 1650 and call it a day. The VWAP right here on the 5-minute chart for GameStop is down here at 16 bucks. Would love to get a dip buy into that one, but there we go. Let's go, man. Ape Nation and whatever you guys are on GameStop. I know AMCs are the apes. What do they call them on GameStop? Are you holding your chicken tendies or what? Because that's a nice move back up to the upside right there. Come on, Uber, let's do something. I'm still in the same names. Our net is kind of hovering around. I want to get into something else, man, but let's go, man. What's up to Michelle? Everybody that's involved in GameStop today, congratulations, man. You guys absolutely nailed that one. And yeah, we've been looking at it, but unfortunately, been is not mean we are, and that today has been a mistake for me on that one. Okay, here goes AMD. We are now taking down some of those lows, man. I know you're long, but we're short. We're at the highest spot we've been at net-wise all day. So let's go, man. This is what we're talking about. Sorry about this, Obi, but we want this market to come back in just a little bit more.
Yeah, no worries. Again, I'm watching some of the. Again, I'm long relative strength there on Apple, and even if we saw what happened in the morning, market quadunks and Apple holds at 189. So I think the long on Apple is not too bad. We'll let that cook. We'll let that work. But yeah, I might be getting a little cheeky here with the long on Amazon, but I will stay a little patient here as we have kind of consolidated the reclaim of that 144. I'm watching some of these key levels kind of from the past come in. We are testing also last week's low as well here on Amazon. So a little bit of a chop and churn, maybe a little bit of a struggle, but as the NQ kind of comes right back in, maybe that's not going to be the case here. So yeah, AMD, Sean is saying that, yeah, all right, nice.
This is how we're doing it, Obi.
AMD is working out for the short. Solid. I should be looking for somewhere to get short.
Obi,
again, I'm here to learn.
Bearish.
Yes.
Bearish.
Yes.
Nah. I mean, who knows? A lot of it is the price that you're in at. You know, like that Apple trade, is it even against you yet? Let's go have a quick look at it. No, see, so again, it's about the prices. Yeah, we re-bare our ugly teeth today because, I mean, look what's happening. I mean, again, this is what's talking about. We short 61s there on Uber twice. Twice is nice. We have 50 cents in the money. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Sharif, it's everybody's favorite club. Sharif's dressed nice. You can come. There it is. It's a $1 club right there for Google as that's coming back in right now as we break through 128.50. And ciao, see you. We're already in this short, so nice move there as bye-bye. Those of you saying, hey, Sean, we're waiting for that collapse coming through. Look at AMD. Bye-bye, down 50 cents now. Look at Uber. Uber saying we're not too concerned about holding 60.50, but we are a little bit. We just came back in and got a 42 fill right there. Wow, that's a good one. If you are not hydrated, please stay hydrated. It is Hydration Nation. We are long SoFi. You know where we last bought this thing, Obi? 665 right there on SoFi. It's up to 802. I love that Lee Auto trade, but this is a nice one. SoFi, nice move back up to the upside, but look what's happening. SoFi, so good right there for SoFi, but it's coming back into some resistance levels as well. So possibly looking to get something out on SoFi. Man, you know what? I love having Neil here. I love having Obi here, but honestly, nothing changing for the bad guy today. What's up, Adara?
Twilio actually on watch right now on news that 5% of its employees will be laid off. This is also interesting with the Spotify layoffs earlier today as well. So keep an eye on Twilio, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I like Twilio. I think that's a name that I was in at the IPO. It ripped up about 500%, and now we'll have to wait to see what happens with Twilio. I didn't get out everything at the top, but that's another one of those real aggressive names. Again, another kind of Kathy Wood name here, as we'll wait to see what happens with Twilio. I always think that whenever you're going to hear stuff about layoffs, and this is thanks to Zuckerberg and company, like the year of the, not year of restructuring, efficiency. That's what it was for Meta and my guy over here. The professor definitely took advantage of that, running Meta all the way back up. And the thing is, I was talking with my father, and by the way, happy damn birthday to my dad. 73 never looked more handsome on that gentleman. But again, we were talking about, hey, what is up with the market these days? And I was like, well, you're close to all-time highs on the NASDAQ again. And then we talked about being very, very specific in what you own. Because if you've owned some of these Canadian banks or some other names, you haven't necessarily had a great ride here over the last little while. But anything depressed has definitely got going. Oh, no! It's another dollar club. AMD says, no, Google. We also want to join the party. So it's AMD dancing around here to the downside. Let's go. So we'll take a bid at 50. It's a rinse and repeat kind of a day here for advanced micro devices.
Yeah, so Apple's still not really breaking through that 189 there. So I did pull up that map there, Sean, kind of looking for looking for that
did you say
strength.
Map? Oh, map. Okay.
Yeah. So it did pull up the map there, and because I was like, oh, what's keeping the ES kind of strong there, but relatively it doesn't seem like anything's too great there. ES kind of coming right back in, NQ making newer lows there. So yeah, those sellers definitely coming right back in and showing their hand on a lot of these names here. So I will kind of piece out of this trade right here, and Apple still, we'll let that work a little bit there and see where that comes in. That 189 kind of interesting as well, but yeah, that 145 didn't really want it, and we're making new lows on the NQ, so I definitely have to respect that and piece off of my longs there. Apple, I'll give that a little bit more room to work. But yeah, going back to this map here, kind of wild move there on the whole market. Kind of a strong sell-off there. We can see Softy, Nvidia, Google, Meta, Amazon, and Apple kind of leading the way there. Strong sells overall. 2.5 on Softy. Softy, I was watching it. Softy kind of still consolidating right underneath that previous all-time high level, that 366 hasn't really gone too far away from that, but it would seem as if the shorts are definitely right there, Sean. And yeah, I gotta respect the sticky, and I gotta respect a little bit of the pressure there. So I am here to learn. And learning we are, as Mother Market teaches us valuable lessons every day here. But it seems like a Home Depot might be pretty strong there. Home Depot a little bit green there on the day. I don't know what travel sector as well. So what is that? Booking.com and Nike footwear. So maybe some staples, some essentials as well. On the rise relative to the rest of the market, kind of selling off there. So let's take a quick look at Home Depot.
Before we do that, we are running a little late on small cap recap, but if you are like Brendan and got your Christmas tree at Home Depot, you may want to wait to hear what Obi has to say next. So let's go over to Adair and then back to you with Home Depot. I don't mean to cut you off, but
No worries.
a business day.
Another day of really strong small cap runners, including SSNT, which was mentioned earlier. It's basically the news. Brad Jacobs, a private equity investor, his equity firm will be investing $1 billion in Silver Sun Technologies. This one's up almost 200% right now. On the flip side, we have Space, Virgin Galactic, SPCE. This one's trading lower amid reports that Richard Branson will not be putting any more money into the company. Keep an eye on SPCE. Last but not least, we have EYPT. This one is iPoint. traded really high in pre-market, still up almost 200% on news that its vision-related treatment has gone well so far. So keep an eye on these names, guys.
All right. Just quickly there, like Uber is absolutely tanking. So the cash register, that is the sticky note. The cash register, that is Trader TV Live, continues to print, guys. And I just hope that everybody likes, subscribes, and does everything because honestly, guys.
Hola. Like and subscribe.
I mean, there it is. Shout out to Kat. Oh, I don't see Kat here today. Where's Kat in the hat? Right now today. Hope she's doing well. Maybe it's her day off. I have no idea. We'll find that out after. But there it is, man. There's Uber to the downside, and it's a 61 short. And the thing is that as we read this, we talk about look at 61 short. It's right here. It's on the sticky note. AMD short is right here on the sticky note. That's $1 in the money. Palantir, we're really having a bang-up day, and I just want to thank absolutely everybody for watching, man. And Obi, I got to say thank you to you as well, because although I sit here in the short, you're in the long, it just proves that there's different styles of trading. Hopefully we can both be net positive.
Only some work, though.
Well, we've talked about, yeah. You know what? I know you're saying that because maybe the short has been working today, but it just goes back to exactly the things that I talk about. And a lot of you ask, I've talked about writing a book and things like that, and a lot of you have mentioned wanting me to do that. Yeah, we'll see if we can get some time to do that. But the point is that you got to have a bias one way in the market. That's what I told Patrick and Justin, my guys here behind me. And it was just like, no matter what levels you're looking at, who cares? Because the market, my wife is my boss, but the market is your boss. When you're sitting here in front of this and we eat what we kill, it's like you have to decide what you want to do. And once you've decided that, then you can find names that will fit that, you know? And so we were bearish to start the day. We were bearish, guys, like when we sat down here today. We were bearish, come to the chart. We were bearish up here. This is when we're writing the damn sticky note. You know, 7:30 to 8:30, we're live on the air at 8:30. We're bearish, baby. And now the market's down at its day's low. Like, this is exactly what we're talking about. This is why we're here. You got to have one way or the damn other. And we had Michael Noss come on today, talk about possibly giving something up today. Yeah, he probably read the sticky note as well. These moves are to the downside as we continue to go. So the longs could come in at some point where we've already done this work, man. We did this work at 8:30 today when we first went live. I said, look at this. We're under, I mean, where is my sticky note? Who knows? We even talked about it being under 16,000, and we didn't want to talk about long until we got above that thing. Then we talked about breaking this level right here of 15,850. Well, that's done. We said next stop 15,8. My bad. It didn't stop there at all. Now you're down here at 15,760 where you can do this. So let's go, man. We're having the best morning we've had probably in a long time. So this is again, it keeps on coming through. We're having a great time. I want to thank you, Obi, once again for filling in for Neil. But hey, man, we're here and the market continues. Uber's now a paltry 65 cents in the money. AMD's a ho-hum $1.23 in the money as we're cooking. It's a Jordan Love era in the NFL right now. And it is a short, what was that? Right? And as we come back into the downside, it's an AMD era in the market. It's a Google era as we go. Sharif, don't start with me, my friend, over there. You know, if the Cowboys visited Lambeau, it would have been a very, very similar fate to that of defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the only time you guys win Super Bowls is when you face the lowly Bills, okay? So let's no, I think that's going to be yeah, I know. I like the Cowboys. My dad actually is a huge Cowboys fan. So he was well, not huge, but he actually met Al Michaels, Howard Cosell, and Frank Gifford. He passed away. My dad actually, you might like this story. He one time got invited down to, this was back in the 80s, Cowboy, I don't know if it was called Cowboy Stadium or whatever back then, and sat in a box, Texas Stadium, and that's when he met all these guys. Yeah, and so he was in the same room as Jerry, but he didn't meet him. So I was like, okay, that would have been cool too. But anyways, Dallas Cowboys, shout out to my father again, and a happy belated to that man as well. But AMD's still a nice downside move, man, as we continue to go. So hey, I've got nothing but love on a day like today? Nothing but Jordan love. I know that makes no sense to you, Obi, but we're feeling the Packers here today as well. And shout out Davey, you are right, knowing that my father is born in Italy. His name is Giorgio. So, don't know. I'm not sure how you knew that, but yeah, that's a good one there. Thanks to all the stalkers out there. That's great.
Yeah, that's some personal information.
I probably gave it away before.
Yeah, so the NQ kind of coming right in very, very hard there. We are kind of holding on to this position a little bit longer than I'd really like to, but again, that 189 do want to hold on to that bias. Kind of we can give it, I think, a little bit to the downside there. We are testing last week's low here on top of that 188 on the Apple there. And let's see if we can kind of catch a little bit of a bounce there. That strong consolidation from last week happened right here at that 188. But the market kind of very, very strong. Like I said before, we were breaking last week's lows. And yeah, clearly I did not respect that pressure as I tried more longs than shorts there. Sean definitely right on the idea of taking that short to the bank and stopping out of that Apple kind of much earlier there. But that 188 kind of coming in. Yeah, exactly. 15.7, 15.7's now printing here on the NQ as we kind of can't stop, won't stop to the downside there, Sean. So you know what? I am done with this trade. I am done with that long bias. I cannot hold this for much longer. So I think I'm done with that. I'm going to be patiently waiting there for that next trade. So what do you got?
What do I got?
Yep.
Oh, man. Well, we just covered AMD for $1.70 as it just ripped through 117 off of that VWAP retest short. So, yeah, what else? I mean, we can look at whatever, man. Bitcoin continuing to run a little bit. Let's check out what Coinbase is doing as it's actually, let me double check that about Bitcoin there. I thought it was, oh, no, okay. I thought Bitcoin was still running. So before you, take that to be the truth, let me just drop this down. For some reason, okay, 1 minute. I was going to say 1 minute chart on this is not great. I'm going to have to find a better chart for this right now. There's a 2 minute one for BTC as we get going here. So Bitcoin right now trying to hold above 41.5. And in true professionalism, let's go over to the desk right now. Their crypto minute. Federa.
Yeah, still a lot of strength in crypto and in these crypto-related stocks. Riot still up almost 10% right now. Mara and Coin also up about 7%. But yeah, Riot still holding very, very strong amidst this massive Bitcoin rally here. So we're still up about 41,500 more or less. At one point, we were trading above 42,000, which would be the highest level for Bitcoin since April 2022. So massive Bitcoin strength. Here's the daily chart. We have been running up for now 4 days straight. In terms of the rest of the cryptocurrency world, Bitcoin up almost 5%, Ethereum up well above 2,200 now, up about 2.7%. Pretty mixed for the rest of these names, some higher, some lower. Dogecoin up about 5% though right now, guys.
All right, thank you.
All about Dogecoin, apparently. Yeah, Dogecoin, man. Nice move upside again here today. As we can look over a couple crypto names. I mean, I don't know. Is there a coin? You seem to be a young gentleman there, Obi. I know that crypto seems to be maybe a young person's game right now. But you can see I'm excited to get some of these on our platform at some point where we can trade spot this stuff because again, I was looking at GBTC today, and sometimes you really got to watch to see what's happening. I've been buying. You guys know this. The last time we bought Cardano was right here on the show, 27, 28 cents. It's down. It's up to 40 cents right now. There's Dogecoin just in the last 24 hours, up 4.9%. As some of these names continue to go up, Shiba Inu as well. I'm not going to say how many zeros that is, but it's up 5.5% going through. But the reason why I ask you, Obi, is I know that you were talking about helping a friend build a computer, and things like that. Is there a coin maybe? I don't know what your crypto exposure is or what your knowledge about it all is.
I don't know too much, but I think the right person to ask is sitting in the back right there, Wayner in the back. Definitely very avid kind of interest in crypto. I think he trades it as well quite frequently. But yeah, no, not too many names on my part. Again, just Bitcoin, ETH, and maybe some Dogecoin as well. I don't know what Doge is doing these days, but yeah, let's take a quick look at Dogecoin. I remember what was it, about 7 cents?
The dancing Doji there,
nice.
that guy.
Yeah, so I remember this back down underneath the 7 pennies when I was initially like looking into getting into it. I guess this chart does not have some of those prices here. Let me look at a different provider of information. Let's check Binance. Okay, there we go. Binance definitely would have it. And yeah, so down here was where I was kind of very interested in it there. And yeah, we got that crazy move up into the 70s there. I don't know if you remember that there in and around was it April, May of 21. We got that strong push, and it's only been fade central since then. But something to note here is that, again, very similar kind of action to almost that GME move, right?
Yeah.
Kind of you have that initial reaction pop, and it comes right back in, and we're holding some of those levels there for months on end. Not even months on end. We've been holding these levels since since July of 22, right? Since July of 22, can't really get below this 5 penny mark, and kind of continuing to the upside. So yeah, I do hold some Dogecoin. I do hold some Bitcoin, a little bit of ETH as well. But yeah, nothing too crazy. I don't really delve into some of the other like altcoins and stuff as much. But I remember back in the day, like if anything would come up on the scanner, I would take a look at it, maybe take a stab at it on the day there, maybe overnight as well. But nothing too crazy. Definitely not as involved as Mr. Wayne back there.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Wayne is the training manager back there, not Bruce. Okay, so Square coming through. I was looking at this as a possible short here, but now we're really starting to go. Square just broke back down below the low of the day. And again, you know, it's one thing to say like right now first of all, we're now $2 in the money on AMD. But it's one thing to say, you know, you're short bias. But this short, like I'm not sure we thought the market would go down this far back in. But yeah, as Bitcoin kind of gives Square a little bit of a boost here early, Square does make a move back down and now goes into the red. So I'm looking at this level right here. And again, I don't want to take anything right now. I feel like we're a little overextended. It is 10:35, so there's still lots of trading to go. And maybe this market does continue to fade out, but let's just talk about a longer term position here, or not long position, time frame. You know, the next area of any kind of support, I mean, we had a huge gap up right there. I'm going to find out what date this was, October 14th. Huge move up that day. And that, I think we can come back in and test, man. I mean, I was not joking when I said I think we can come back and test 15,000, maybe 14.8. So that's 1,000 points lower from where we are right now. And again, I'm just talking about like, show me the reasons to buy right now. AMD's heading to the downside, right? I mean, we talked about that. Crypto makes the move back up. So that's, you know, if you're looking to get something, maybe it's crypto that would be along, but I don't see too much right now happening in this market, including Square to the downside. Look at Palantir. I thought Palantir had a chance to hold today. Good thing we got out of that one. Look at this. Straight fire to the downside here for PLTR as some of these more beat up names continue to try to bounce back a little bit. And that one of them obviously here would be PLTR. I mean, is this coming into a bottom? Look at this at a day range here. This is looking pretty good, right? These are those levels that we said, wait for dip buy opportunities. Palantir could be at one of those levels. So do we just want to go long here off of 1860? I think, thank you so much, Sharif. I think that could be a good bounce spot. Let's try our hand right now on Palantir. We're short everything else, but we're really light. Like, AMD now is $2 in the money, but I do think that we could try to catch potential. Okay, well, here we go. Now we're in it already at 74 as we put a bid out and get filled almost automatically there on this name. So crypto is still good for us. Bitcoin making that move, but Palantir will try the long against the bottom, and that bottom is going to be 1860. There it is. You know, try to catch that. Let's try. Catching a falling sword is very tricky to do. We're going to give this to 1860 on Palantir.
Nice shorts there on Palantir. That's pretty solid there. I think you got a super chat there, Sean.
Okay.
Hayden Griffith asking, could you take a look at CLSK gap up with BTC move tanking the last 30 minutes?
Why don't you take a look at it? How about that?
He specifically tagged you, but
sure, he wants you.
Sure, I can take a look at CLSK.
I will look.
There.
I want to see the reason why I say that is I want to see your look. I want to see what you're saying about it, and then we'll go over to CLSK. And of course, they are a clean energy miner.
Yeah, clean spark.
So what do you think it looks like?
All right, so how I like to do this usually is kind of if I'm really taking a proper look at it, I want to work down the time frames there. So I'll take a look at it on the weekly to start off with. And yeah, a little bit of a gap up along with the rest of a lot of these crypto names, right? So a gap up hold potential. So let's see, a little bit of a resistance here just around that 760-ish. So if we do pull back, I think I'll be looking for potential support there. You can see that it is a little bit of a level, testing from the lows, testing from the highs, testing from the lows as well, multiple times over. So that 7.5 potential for support, right? But the overall picture you can see here is that this is a little bit of a repeat offender. Every time it pops, you can see that it doesn't necessarily sustainably hold the move, maybe only for a few weeks to a couple months. It goes on a little bit of a run, but the overall picture is still a sell-off with consecutive lower highs there on CLSK. So I think if I'm looking for a long, I'm not going to be looking for a long for too long, as we do make consecutively lower highs on a larger time frame. So after that, working down to the daily, you can kind of identify those same levels here a little bit more clearly, and then moving down to the hourly as well to see how that buildup into the move really came to be. So Thursday after hours was earnings on CLSK, and we got that strong continuation. We broke earnings reaction high, and then all day you kind of I guess like Sharif likes to say, up and to the right with that strong uptrend as you kind of open down here at that $6 mark, and you close near the high a day there, just around underneath that $8 mark. So coming in today, we are holding above those levels on that gap up on Bitcoin, kind of moving as well, very, very strong. But yeah, 750. So we said 750, and take a look right here. Yesterday or Friday, that 750, 7.5 did come into play as that end of day consolidation happens, and I think that's a good place to look. But if we're going to continue this momentum, I think this closing, this kind of consolidation from after hours, it's $8 level and 877s-ish. That's the previous day's high as well. Good levels to kind of interact with. But yeah, continuation play for off of Bitcoin. So that's my look on it there, Sean.
I mean,
was that too long?
Another one.
Oh, you did.
Another one.
You did fantastic.
Another one.
I mean, Palantir, we just bought it. Right there.
You flipped to the...
I was never short Palantir. I was only long Palantir. We lost on it earlier. But there it is right there. Nice move back up to the upside. So again, we bought 74s, the bottom 66. So right now, you're 12 cents in the money off of a 10-cent risks or 8-cent risk. So we're taking some out as Palantir continues to go back up to the upside. Man, this has been what a fantastic morning it's been. I just want everybody to hit the like. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Let's go, man. Give it up for my guy over here. It's Obi, and it's Adara at the desk. LT printed.
Pretty mixed right now, but generally, definitely a sense of weakness here, especially in the electronic tech and tech services area. Technology services, all the mega caps here trading lower. Microsoft, Google, Meta, CRM trading lower after earnings last week. We also have a lot of weakness in electronic technology, specifically the chip names, with news NVIDIA's CEO going to Japan and basically saying that he's going to work for these AI chips coming into Japan to make that a focus. So that's of note with all of these chip names, mostly trading lower right now. Health technology, pretty mixed, some mixed energy and finance as well. And also a little bit of strength here in retail trade with the exception of Amazon down almost 2%. Home Depot up pretty significantly and Lowe's trading higher as well. Transportation also pretty strong and some mixed trading in consumer services, guys.
Yeah, right off. We're just, I mean, I was just telling Obi that we were just talking about some of these positions. And it's just like, we've seen this has already happened before. We literally had NVIDIA earnings. NVIDIA cranked down to, lower there. We made some bottoms in the NASDAQ, and then NVIDIA found its footing, and then we ripped all the way back up. So I feel like, to see this kind of a move come through, sure, it's great, but I feel like we've seen this all before, and it's just like, let's just let it play out. I mean, we put this, look where NVIDIA is, man, back down to 450 as if. Like, we were literally calling these moves, and it's hard to hold it. I mean, it's a very humbling experience when you're, especially on a show like this, and you're trying to explain to people like what your take would be or what you're thinking, because often you can be exactly dead wrong all of the time, and you're just sitting there like, that was wrong. And when we're right, you got to sort of celebrate those, because it doesn't happen every day. The market does have crazy way of humbling you and just saying to you, hey man, no, like, you just lost 3 times today what you made yesterday because you got brave and stuck your neck out in front of something, right? Which is why I feel like if you're gonna have stop orders, like, honestly, I can look back at all of these trades. My Uber stop, like, for example, which is now 70 cents in the money, we're getting short up here at 60.85. We wrote down 61, so right there, we're not going to get run over that badly on Uber, right? If we're wrong, we're wrong. We actually got stopped out one time. Maybe we didn't, actually we didn't on Uber. It was AMD where let's talk about our AMD stop out. So like, AMD runs our level right here. That's a stop out when it took this level up at 118.50. But then we wicked higher, bounced off the 50-period moving average, and then I said, okay, and then we got right back in, and then boom goes the dynamite down to the downside. So when we're wrong on AMD, we're losing for sure. Like I said, we're out. We got stopped out on AMD. We're red on the day, right? But then when you hold something now, when you're gonna lose 20 cents, but then when you blink and you look down and you're in the money $1.80, it's like, okay, it made that risk well worth it. So sometimes you got to have a bias, and if you can pick that bias in the right direction and be able to get a little bit of sort of, what do they call it? Those things, it's something like that. If you have those, then you can sometimes stones. That's what it is. Curling stones. Those are pretty heavy. If you have those curling rocks, then yeah, man, you can make a little bit of cash. So that's a good example there with AMD and trying to hold on to things. Everyone will trade different styles, right? We have Neil on the show that will talk about taking small hits and lose 10 times in a row, but get that 11th one that wins. That can pay out for you. And you don't want to lose 10 times in a row, but right. Something like that. And he talked about, I think he was like saying 4-to-1 loser to winner ratio. If you take the right appropriate amount of risk on a stock like in a firm or something like that, SSNT, again, another name that continues to halt over and over again, now up to $11.50. It actually touched $13, SSNT today. So there are going to be a lot of moves like that. And there's also going to be trading strategies where traders trade a name like HUD 8. Today on a reverse split day, where remember it was up here at $12, $13, and I was like, wow, you know where this one's going. Yeah. Look, like right off the open, if I just said and stuck with that whole rhetoric of, well, you know where this one's going, you would have made $2 right there on the downside. It's 20% right there. So yeah, sometimes trades make sense and sometimes they don't. But when they do, you want to make sure that you capitalize on them. We already out 60% now of Palantir as it went up about 2-to-1 in the money for that.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you. Gotta stay respecting the pressure, and clearly I didn't do that. I pretty much capitulated myself trying to push the long there, right? So the trading is definitely there, but like the idea, holding on to that idea too strong when the market is showing you that clearly we are selling off is kind of that stubbornness that I do have to get out of my system. I'm like, okay, yeah, 188s, give up the 189. Hold down to there, and then that doesn't hold either. But clearly, that 189 that I was risking off of just underneath it, that's where that idea is violated, right? So got to keep that closer for sure. Not really get too aggressive with that bias. Again, we were talking about why that we could potentially see a strong sell-off. Again, Nvidia being one of the market leaders, doing the dues, right? We've kind of bid up strongly, and for the past couple of weeks, we've had that strong sell-off, and we're getting more of that. And now that sentiment is kind of following through into all of the other constituents, right? Nvidia had a red week before a lot of other tickers got their first red week. Now I'm only talking about the Mag 7 right now, not necessarily other stocks that might also have a little bit of weighting, accumulated weighting in on these futures. But Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, and Tesla, Nvidia as well, of course, kind of all of those names relatively strong. But Nvidia was the first one to kind of show that weakness, and we're getting that little bit of a follow through, the NQ following in as well, as we've distinctly kind of pushed off of that 16,000, that push up in towards that previous all-time highs as well. Let me just pull that up there so we can look at what we're talking about as well at the same time. So hourly right here, you can see, yeah, so right here last week we kind of pushed up into that 16.2. We know that all-time highs is a little bit higher than that for sure up here, but yeah, so that's 16.7. So we were coming up into it pretty hot. We broke out of kind of this short-term downtrend there that brought in a lot of that strong buying pressure, and we were like, okay, well, we thought we were selling off aggressively. We pop up above that. You have strong buying pressure for the past month or so, 2 months, if you really count where that started down in October at the lower end of this range right here, of this range support, and then you come right back in. A strong breakout of that downtrending range definitely gives you that buying pressure. But if the case is that the selling pressure, the overall selling pressure is still there off of those highs, we are seeing a little bit of a struggle to get by those. But yeah, I think we're more than valid for a consolidation. Like the overall even bigger picture trend than that, if you scroll further back, is obviously the uptrend. We've seen how well these markets have done on a longer time frame, and these heavy volatile fluctuations don't really mean much if you are like a very long-term investor as well, right? But again, I can't really speak too much on that, but what I can speak on is just the limited information that's been printed on the chart over the past few months. And we can see here, take a look at this weekly as well on the NQ. Bit of a first red week. We did see the slowdown of that momentum. Take a look at this. Very strong week off of the bottom there, unusually strong as we kind of wipe 2 weeks worth of strong selling off of this October candle right there, and that continuation through this trend resistance as well. And finally, we are getting a little bit of that relief as we print the first red week in a while there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green weeks, ending off with a little bit of an indecisive doji happening at a previous high as well. A little bit of a pullback. I do have to respect that and not capitulate myself on a strong, stubborn bias there, as I did today. So yeah, I think that's a good
decisive doji.
Yeah, a little bit of you got wicks on both sides, so buyers and sellers a bit even. So price maybe deciding where to go.
And halted again, the candle of indecision. Over there. Okay, just real quickly before we go over to Adara to wrap this up with Money Talks, and then we'll be back, and then there'll be 10 more minutes, and then you'll see Sharif and Adara both on the midday show with Learn to Trade and trading psychology.
Ooh.
Probably.
I might need some of that.
Yeah, Obi will be lying on the couch tonight thinking about this, getting some psychology coming through. But don't think too hard, man. You've got it. Sometimes you get the wrong way, man. Don't.
Yeah, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Yeah, but when you lose and it's due to your stubbornness and not really following or forgetting the original plan and getting lost in the sauce,
Yes,
in the
sir.
price action, kind of being like, oh, 145. I want to get the long into it, but yeah, no.
The one
Things I have to
thing
work
that
on
I've
for
learned
sure.
is exactly that, is that, you know, sometimes you just got to slow down and not pile on to wrong decisions.
Yes.
That's the one thing. So it's trading psychology, if we might have missed that there happening on the midday show. Just before I go, there's a new position. I got to go over to Adair in a second, but we're short Rivian. Okay, well, there it is right there. We'll face slap a little bit as we're starting to take more profits again. We're short Rivian at 86. We just took an 80 bid there. Obviously, we're like kind of in scalp mode, but I still think Rivian can fade back out at VWAP at a high there near 18. As there it is, man. It's, you know, we like dime pieces around here, and here's another one for you. But Palantir just fell back in again into that bottom. So watch out, man. I don't know if we like this long or what, but we're going to hold this until we break through 1860. I'm not in love with this. We may have to get out as there goes Rivian down in, and we do average back to Palantir. It's Money Talks. It's Adair. She's at the desk.
USD pretty strong right now so far. Here's the DXY trying to recover from a couple weeks of weakness here, mostly to the downside. Yeah, now we're just below that 104 area, about 103.80 on the DXY, ahead of lots of economic data coming up this week, including jobs openings numbers coming tomorrow. We also have non-farm payroll and unemployment data coming on Friday, so stay tuned for that. Should be an interesting week for the USD with all this economic data coming up, guys.
All right, we'll just, thank you so much for that, Adara. We'll go Sean Slap for this one. And I want to save a big, where's my props thing out here? Where's props? Where's props? Because shout out to everybody there. Look, Tisha, like I understand, SSNT keeps halting. Congratulations if you're in it. But look at this one, man. Real trading. Uber. Nice downside move. Congratulations to everybody there. What's up to Stoyle Socks, man? There it is. Uber finally gets going back down into the downside. So congratulations to you again on that one. And guess what, guys? There's Palantir. Whoopsies. Palantir, nice upside move again off that. We'll see if that can get going. Rivian again. There's Rivian down in. Another piece coming out, hopefully on Rivian, as we're touching back into 75. Man, this has been, honestly, I want to throw over to the midday because I love the midday, but I don't want to give this up, man. This trading has just been so good here today. AMD, $2. Google, $1.50. We just put on Rivian right now. Another one. So that's going to be a good one, man. So there goes Rivian, fail downside. We just put this guy on right now. So that's going to be a good trade. And there it is, man. What's up to Adam DeLuz? What's up to everybody in the chat? We're in a good mood because we sort of called this. It's a nice move back down to the downside. And just, again, guys, like, there it is. There's the move on Rivian. Back in. It's red on the day. Market is red. It made a move up. Market didn't. See you later. Nice downside move there. I'm just trying to explain why I take these trades so as to help everybody else with their decision making as well. Some days we'll bury it. Some days we will, get buried. Today, the former, there it is again. We just take a 69 fill there on Rivian. Some people wait all day for 20-cent winners. We wait 4 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's a
but
great
again,
way to do
you
it.
just trade what you see, Obi.
Yeah, for sure. I think we were doing a presentation last week on the trend is your friend, and I think a quote from Jesse Livermore was everything you need to know is right there in front of you. And I think I really vibed with that. Again, that just goes to show if everything is right there in front of you, you better be respecting that.
That's for damn sure.
So some solid
on the
moves
market's name.
on that Uber there. Yeah, definitely got to put some respect on the market. But that 61 there, Sean, solid call out. We kind of identified those levels in the morning there. That reaction high as well off of that news, kind of holding as resistance as underneath that 61. Holding quite heavily there, coming right back into some of these levels, but that 59 potentially as a support area there. We've seen kind of buyers come in at that 59.5 kind of aggressively in the pre-market. Off the news as well on Friday, kind of you can see that strength kind of come in and hold and continue as the buyers kind of show their hand there as well, and all of pre-market as well. So that 59.5 potentially coming into there, looking for a potential hold. And I don't know if you covered this, the super chat here by Stoyle.
We mentioned it, but yeah, go over.
Yeah, Uber finally going down. My God, I was crying in short. But yeah, that 61 again, decent place to sell. It stays a decent place to sell. You look left on the chart. It's been there kind of as a resistance area, and we're seeing that come to fruition there on the chart. Only about 30 pennies down off of that level, but that 59 coming in real hot, and the NQ, Sean, still continues to make lower lows there, as well as the ES. We were thinking earlier on that maybe the ES can hold its own, but that selling pressure really coming in across the board there, so deserves some respect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else I want to do right now. So we covered a decent part of our Rivian. Again, this kind of just went 1-to-1 coming back in. I mean, I would love to get that bottom, but we're short here against 18. So the fact that it's making this move down is really nice. I just want to say again, just a big shout out to everybody in the chat, because like the words are so kind. It's just, sometimes the trading works out, and I'm just happy to be here when it does. Okay, so what else, you guys? Oh, by the way, you see we're now out of Uber. Like that just fell back into day's low. And again, this is an index ad. So do we know what day it's being added? I might have missed that.
I think today or
Friday, next. Okay, so week Friday being added there. Thanks, Brendo, for that one. As the rebalance day hits, right? And so remember, it's going to be the third Friday. So it's actually early this year, the third Friday, because Friday was the first. So the third Friday coming early there. Next week, Friday, being added. It's roughly 200 million shares, which is about 9 days. Thanks to Brendan for this one. About 9 days average volume added into one final print.
Yeah,
coming on
that's
that day.
wild.
So again, I've been short Uber today. I really liked it. I continue with that same rhetoric where it's buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yeah.
And for me today, again, not to say that trading is easy, but we had 61. We wicked up there this morning when it fell back in today. Lucky to get the shorts. Did I think it was going to drop down like this? No. But you're still up 4%. Uber could turn red on the day, believe it or not, today. It's just, let's just wait to see what happens here. I don't think Uber does turn red. I mean, in order for it to turn red, it's going to have to get all the way back down to 57. But it's, if we lose this bottom, which we've already gotten out at right there, then where does the support, you tell me where the support comes in. So we'll just wait to see what happens with Uber. And then we've already called this market down to 15.7, and right now you're at 15.73. So it's getting back in. AMD's $2 in the money and trying to break lower. NVIDIA probably honestly took 250 already, not even looking at it, but wow, what about a 250 break short there? That could be a max buying power, not for me, but that could, for some of you, it could be there. We have a lot of money that we can throw at this name, but we're not going to do that. That's NVIDIA. And then there was one more name that I wanted to look at before I get out of here. What is it? Is it Meta? No, it's not Meta.
One of the mag?
It's not one of the
AMDs?
mags. We'll figure it out. Oh, you were just talking about it. Look at the screen, Obi.
Amazon.
Oh, look at the screen,
sorry,
Obi.
Steve. Sorry, yeah.
Amazon, what you buy? Now, I did have that idea.
I looked at my own screen when you said
I did have, you always, everything's all about Amazon.
No.
No, but we had that idea before with Uber and Duber.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe, I don't know what.
I got a couple of Duber numbers.
Yeah. You do you? Nice. That's what I was like saying when I was looking at that and we said Amazon, I was wondering if you're getting some of that delivered off Amazon under subscription model there. You save your 5%. But no, look at Tilray. I don't know if we had news. We'll throw it back to Sharif and Adair in a second, but some of the marijuana names are puff passing today and making that move back up to the upside. They can all basically go to hell because I am holding the bag on these, but I have recently added to some of these positions because they are so beat up. So CGC today, nice down to the downside. I think, and we've had Rahim Alani on the show numerous times, he's given some true leave, some different multi-state operators I think are the way to go. But honestly, the more and more I do this market recap show, join me and Obi back again at 2 o'clock, and then I'll be back from 4 to 4:30. It's not going to be a long show today because my kid plays in North York today at 6 o'clock. So I've got to somehow get home and get that all figured out, as my daughter has pictures as well for hockey. But the ETF is what I'm getting at. So some of these ETF, MSOS is one. If just spread the risk around. If you do think marijuana eventually or cannabis goes back from a Schedule 3 to a 1 or the other way around, lessens the fine or the, I guess it's much more than a fine in some states there. The activity there of possible jail time and whatnot is not nice. But again, heading into an election year,
We could,
you know, last time Kamala Harris puff passed on that discussion and where she got that going up to the upside. Now I don't even know where she is anymore coming through. So we'll wait on some more cannabis. Obi, wrap this thing up. I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining before we go over to the big show.
Yeah, it's been a solid morning there. Kind of a lot of lessons learned, especially on my part. But yeah, thank you for spending time with us, and make sure to come back for the closing show. But don't go anywhere, as we're going to pass it off to the midday with Sharif and Adara.
Ciao.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade.